Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. I just need to clear my head. I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. 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 I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I just need to. I just need to clear my head. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head. Oh, clear my head. I just need to clear my head.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Show me what you got. Oh,
Is that everything you got?
last turn.
Catch me if you can.
That was great.
That was a good game.
Unlock true experience with GT Omega.
Unleash the racer in you and feel the thrill of racing all out on the open road.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. Welcome to the GT Omega Challenger Cup, round number 4 here in the beautiful Ardennes forest of Belgium. It is, of course, Spa-Francorchamps. My name's Chris Buxton. I'll be one of your commentators throughout tonight's festivities. Joining me in the box, I'm very happy to say, is Ewan O'Leary. Welcome aboard, Ewan.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Good to be back here on the GT Omega Challenger Cup once again after 3 very good opening rounds back to back. They've had a week off, and they might need it because Spa is a really iconic circuit, really difficult, but absolutely iconic, especially in these GT3s we've got tonight.
GT3s at Spa is such a marriage made in heaven. We've had Monza, we've had Kyalami, we have had Donington, and now it is time for the one and only Spa-Francorchamps. So let's have a quick overview of the championship standings as they currently stand. So it's BS Competition at the top of the tables, but not by a huge amount. There's only about 32 points that separates them from the Yas Heat squad, or one of the Yas Heat squads. Then it is Volante in third position, or the first of the Volante squads. Then it's the Jardier Community, the 116 car, in fourth position. So it should be saying, so it's BMW M4 at the top. Then it's two McLarens. Then it's the Jardier Porsche. Then it's another McLaren, the 199 Volante, the second squad, in fifth position. Then in sixth, it's the 991 P2 Sim Sport Bentley. That good old boat is hanging on in there. Decent scoring position in sixth place. We should say that the kind of top two have got a bit of a rule of the roost, but there's the points position behind them are really, really close. In seventh is the number 31, the West Competition Racing, the BMW, the next BMW in the list. In eighth is the number 70 Riser Esports car, the another Porsche. The number 99 Lutz Motorsport takes ninth spot. 99 in ninth. Very nice. That suits my OCD down to the floor. In the BMW, and rounding out the top 10 is the R&E Team Red. That's the Rag Nation squad in the 125 McLaren. Anyone you're keeping an eye out for, Mr. O'Leary, or just a good action like all of us?
Yeah, well, the good action obviously is going to come up and down the field. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's obvious to say that we can look out for BS Competition after winning the last two races back to back. I think that's an obvious choice. But one team that did impress on their first outing in the championship this season was Yas Heat Community, the 75 car, a bit down the order in terms of championship standings, because they have only done the one race so far, the Donington Park race 2 weeks ago. But they did impress. Third place for them on that particular day. So maybe today they can go a little bit better. But yeah, there's Yas Heat cars all over the place. They are going to be a team to watch here in this season, especially this race as well. But BS Competition remain the ones to be beaten. If they can go 3 in a row, then they've really taken this championship by the scruff of the neck. So everybody else is going to be dying to not let that happen.
Absolutely so. You can never discount Yas Heat from anywhere, can you? In fairness, they're the 75 McLaren up there in the second in the championship at the moment. As I say, with a stunning effort there. Like you say, it's difficult to look away from BS Plus. There's such a force to be reckoned with. 2 wins behind them and a second, only being beaten by the Yas Heat number 75 McLaren at the opening round at Monza. Can they be beaten? Sure, of course they can. But it's going to be a case of they're going to have to really, the competition are really going to have to work hard to deal with that. Also, keep an eye out for the number 31, the West Competition Racing BMW. No points in the first round, but a second at Kyalami really elevated them up the field, and a decent scoring position last time out. I think it's fourth, looking at the scores, fourth or fifth in the point standings last time out at Donington Park. So a very, very solid result. So, of course, they're making up some lost ground for not scoring in the opening round, but they're making up great guns. So another one of the BMWs. Now, as far as what car characteristics are going to suit here at Monza, I think the BMW might prove quite strong. I'm not convinced the Porsche is going to be quite as good as we've seen in previous rounds. Just the nature of the circuit, I'm not convinced is going to suit the Porsche. We will see. I wait to be proven completely wrong. Also, keep an eye on the Bentley. That one may be a little bit stronger here as well. The 991 P2 SimSport Bentley as the only representative of the Bentley, I believe. Yes, it is. We do have a Ferrari in the field, the Team Kamikaze. That made me chuckle at Monza as well, the 26 car. They didn't prove their namesake correct, lad. One Audi as well, a little bit further down the field, the Lipet Esports team, the 112 car, which we've only seen once, sadly, so far. That was, we've only enjoyed their company once. They scored fairly well, well within the top 10. But that was at Kyalami 3 weeks back. Sadly, they weren't with us for rounds 1 and 3, so they do find themselves towards the tail end of the field. Spa-Francorchamps then. Trouble spots are going to be La Source and at the end of the Kemmel Straight. They're the usual highlighted spots. But these GT3 cars, they can take a few knocks and a few bumps. I love this track as a driver's perspective and from a commentator's perspective as well. It's just, it needs very little introduction to those that knows either sim racing or real racing. If you've seen Spa, you know the magic I'm referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody knows this circuit. Sometimes we go to some of these where you're thinking, well, is everybody going to be accustomed to what they're doing here? But absolutely not on this occasion. Everybody will know where they're going, and it won't have taken very much time for them to get up to speed in practice. Just on the cars and what's going to be strong here today. I don't, because it was 2 weeks ago now, and I've slept since then. But after speaking to some of the drivers after the Donington Park race, I do seem to remember George Boothby and Luke Whitehead of Yas Heat and GTWR saying how strong the McLaren has potential to be around here. I might be remembering that as the wrong car and the wrong people saying the wrong things, but I'm pretty sure that the McLaren was tipped by those two in particular as being very strong around here. Obviously, we'll wait and see, and time will tell. But that's what I remember from earlier on. But as we said, you can't count out the BS competition because we can talk about the cars and how strong or weak they are at circuits until the cows come home. But if the drivers pull through and put in a good performance, then obviously that car's going to look very good. And if the drivers don't perform, then a strong car can be made to look very average.
Very, very true. And it's a McLaren at the top of the practice line. This is free practice. It's not qualifying. We haven't got that underway. That's the Yas Heat car, currently in charge of Luke Whitehead, who I believe it was he. Yes, it was. It was him that brought the car home to the win at Monza at the opening round of this series. As indeed George Boothby, his partner in crime at that time around. So, yeah, look at that. But then you look at the Audi. That's not a car that I would have thought would have done well. That's the Lipet Esports car in third position, excuse me, at the moment. But you can see a lot of cars have not set a time here. So I'm not taking it away from the, from the achievement of Yan. I think that's Yan Gang. I think that's how that's pronounced. Again, apologies if that is incorrect. But yeah, I didn't expect the Audi to be a bit of a front runner here. It will do well in other places. I remain unconvinced that it's going to do well here. Again, I mean no disrespect to the drivers of that car. It's not a reflection on their ability or their speed or whatsoever. I'm just not certain that the characteristics of Spa particularly suit some cars. Yes, the GT3 class is relatively well balanced. There's not huge differences between each car, but there's subtle differences that are exasperated in certain places. So certain cars that are very good in twisty sections won't necessarily do as well here in Spa that has a lot of right foot. Conversely, places like Kyalami that's much twistier, where outright horsepower is not the name of the game whatsoever, then better suits those cars. So again, that sounds like a bit of an obvious statement, but that goes to bolster what I'm saying, is that what I'm talking about, the not expecting certain cars to do well, that's not a reflection of the driver. Exactly as you were saying, Ewan, that an average car can excel and a good car can be dragged down in the wrong kind of combinations. You're absolutely right. And that's really what I'm looking forward to. The McLaren, you can never discount the McLaren. It's just a great all-round car. There were some balance of power changes right as the series was about to kick off. So we'll see how that's impacted. I'm still going to hedge my bets on the BMW. I await to be proven wrong.
Yeah, it's difficult to bet against the BMW, mainly because of the teams that are driving it, as we've already said. But yeah, the McLarens are very numerous in this championship, especially. I think it kind of reflects on the kind of reliability of it in terms of it being at least decent everywhere, rather than excelling exceptionally. You can see 8 already on our leaderboard on the left-hand side, so it is very popular, and for good reason as well. Really, it just remains to be seen when we get into it quite what it's going to happen, and whether we're going to see rain as well, of course, because we did get that 2 weeks ago at Donington Park. Typically in the British Isles, we did get rain. Who knew? And so will that happen again for the second race in a row? Wait to see. Because in a race, well, it must have been September last year. Now it's getting on for a year ago. But when the rain started to fall at Spa for a 24-hour race, and it rained pretty much the entire time, the Aston Martin was unbeatable, and there's about 7 or 8 places covered completely by Aston Martins at the front of the field after about 14 hours of rain. So if that does happen, then maybe the sole Aston Martin, the number 5 down there, has got a bit of a chance. But that may well have changed since that race. And we may also not get rain, because it does look pretty nice out there at the moment.
So far, so good, isn't it? But who knows what will happen in the remaining qualifying sessions. So, speaking of, we will be heading over to our aforementioned qualifying session once the remaining cars have bounced back to the pits. Just waiting for Ben McConnell. That's the R&E car in the McLaren, or the R&E Red team, I should say, of which Ben McConnell leads that particular group. There we go. We are now into a 15-minute qualifying session. There's a gorgeous Yas Heat car. I'm making no apologies for liking the liveries. Actually, all the liveries look absolutely cracking. I remember making that particular point right at the beginning of the series, and they look magnificent yet again. There is the Yas Heat car, as mentioned. Loving seeing that already. People trying to get a slipstream, and that is going to be so crucial down the Kemmel Straight. You've got such a huge, great length of track that people often don't want to be at the lead of a particular group when they come up and through Radion and onto that Kemmel Straight. They often want to be the one behind to get that slipstream. So you'll very often see people that could potentially have a run on someone coming through the Kemmel Straight and into Lake On, but they choose not to use it because they don't want to then be subject to the slipstream from the competitors themselves. We will see what kind of team strategies we have going on.
We certainly will. I can't see, in terms of slipstream, it's not quite as important as Monza around here, but you're right, up the Kemmel Straight it is going to be a bit of a thing, especially as well coming out of the Curve Paul Frere and through Blanchimont. You get a little bit of a slipstream there maybe as well. So it might be a strategy employed by 1 or 2 drivers, but I can't see it being quite as important as it is at some other places. And of course, you can't forget that these cars are not quite as slipstream dependent as some other forms of racing, where slipstream can become very important indeed at a circuit like this. But at the moment, Luke Whitehead just wants to get out front, and I don't blame him for this. Just wants to get out front of the entire field and get some clean air, because there are a few more cars on the grid here today than we have seen in some other rounds. 4 new entries since we raced at Donington Park as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about as we go along tonight. But I don't think it's a bad idea here from Whitehead to just get out front of the field and get some clean air rather than jockeying for position in the pack like most of the other cars in the field are doing.
Entirely. As we see Luke Whitehead in the GTWR Yas Heat car. Just coming through Lake Arm, starting his first time lap of the session. 21 competitors, 21 gladiators ready to do the deed here at Spa-Francorchamps. Down the hill into Eau Rouge, over as much rumble strip as you dare, up and over Radion. That's quite a danger spot. If something fails, you're off into the wall. How many accidents have we seen up there in the last year or so in real life terms? Kemmel Straight, this will be where the slipstream game is going to be very, very strong. Again, because the lap is so long, drivers are not going to be just waiting for the optimum time to come out. I suspect we're going to be seeing a lot of laps from our competitors. Lake On, Malmedy, now down the hill towards Bruxelles. It's a great place to watch. Spa is down there in Bruxelles. Early apex then for Luke Whitehead. We'll let the car wander a little bit. Tail gets a tad bit loose just to help rotate the car. Then down towards Speaker's Corner, or No Name Corner, call it as you will. I prefer No Name Corner than Speakers, if I'm quite honest. Then Double Gouch, as it's referred to these days, or Puon for us old fogies to remember it so. Gets the first apex, just touch the one on the rumble strip on the outside line, then just crawl back towards the second one and keep the car nice and steady under the advertising hoarding. Now for the Fania chicane. And not quite close to the first apex there for Luke Whitehead, but hits the second one quite nicely. Wanders over the exit rumble strip. Now it's for Campus. This first right-hander, then it's Stavilo. It'll be flat out through this. Possibly not when the car is really, really heavy, but certainly right now they'll be flat out. They're using all the rumble strip they need to on the outside line. Then it's Paul Freya. Absolutely flat, just waiting for the miles to turn, well, the kilometers to turn by. Blanchimont now. This long left-hander, sweep through, get that one wrong, and you're almost fast lining towards the pit lane entry. And here is going to be another potential trouble spot. The braking section for the chicane. Oh, someone's already caused a yellow flag out there. The 44 car has had a bit of trouble there at Puon. Into the start-finish straight then, and it's heading towards the line for the first time lap at 2:16.807 from Luke Whitehead for Yas Heat.
And not a bad first lap, just getting a banker in at this stage you would expect, but still pushing relatively hard. You're not going to get many opportunities around here. It's only a 15-minute qualifying session, and if you're out there the entire time, I reckon you're going to struggle to get more than 7, really. I don't think you get more than 7. And you've got to include an outlap in there as well, so that's at very maximum 6 flying laps if you do them back to back to back. Which is not really ideal, so really not very many opportunities. Every lap time is going to be very important, but it looks like Whitehead has made the first one count. At the 14, McLaren is just slotted in behind him. That's Volante Racing and Grantis Caracas at this stage, a couple of attempts away, but this early lap time, this early provisional pole position going to Luke Whitehead in that GTWR Yas Heat McLaren. Just started off oh so well here at Spa. Looks like he's just... Well, I can't really quite tell if he's taking things easy or not on this second lap or not, but as I said, just need to, well, they all need to get on with it because there isn't much time in this session and it's a long lap.
Very true, yeah. 7 laps is around about right, I'd say. If they were all push laps, and like you said, that's not ideal. You would want to push lap, a slow lap, a push lap, a slow lap. But again, drivers are not taking the risk of just going out there on a very empty tank. If with this many cars in the field, if somebody makes a mistake, that could well invalidate your own lap or just ruin it for you by courtesy of someone else's mistake, and it's not something you want to risk. Oh, and Luke Whitehead very, very wide there, coming out of the Fania chicane. I think he just about hung onto it. Oh, it's another yellow flag. I didn't quite see. I think that was the 991 squad. That's the P2 Simsport car taking itself back to the pits. Oh, that's the 724 car. I think that has had to jump back to the pits. That's Prodol in the Porsche that's had to head back home, having troubles there at what looked, I think it was at Radion where that's gone wrong. Continuing to watch Luke Whitehead then, is this an improvement? Was this a push-up? Like you say, Ewan, it's really, really hard to tell from the helicopter cam. Let's see then, through the chicane. I would imagine this is probably not quite full crank, but he's not slowed up too much. But never mind that. Statsenko in the 39 car has just taken the top spot as we jump to the RevSport International as Nathan Carey in the 72 BMW. I think that's a driver change lineup. Driver lineup change, right words, wrong order. I think it was Ed Haskell and Jimmy Lynn that originally had that car. So Nathan Carey is in the squad for this one. So it'll be interesting to see who takes that car over. Currently down in 19th, but probably not with a too representative time on the board. And I wondered if that was into the pit lane there, and that's going to be another potential trouble spot. If someone's wanting to come into the pit, they may well have to suddenly correct their line if someone is following someone that's destined for the pit lane. So we will see if that catches anybody out. There is Luke Whitehead on board again with the Yas Heat car coming down towards Speaker's Corner in that gorgeous Yas Heat car. And yeah, it is blue on one side and white on the other. You don't adjust your monitors, that is correct. That catches me out every single time because I'm used to the blue. I'm used to that beautiful sky blue color. I mean, the white one's not bad. You're seeing a number of yellow flags, and not all of them are for spin. Some of them will be just people slowing up and finding, giving themselves a bit of space. But it looks like a few people are being caught out around Eau Rouge and Radion, that kind of area.
It's hardly surprising, and that's obviously what's driven the track adjustments that they've made in real life that maybe we'll dive into a little bit later on, but I doubt it. This track doesn't quite look like this anymore in real life. We'll get kind of a better view of that as more racing comes here eventually over the year. But this track has undergone some changes over the winter, and that is one of the primary reasons for them. Eau Rouge and Radion, so difficult, of course. And less than a year ago, in the Spa 24 hours GT freeze for 24 hours here, there was a big pile up. Obviously, that would be one of the many reasons why they will have gone for that change at Radion. The amount of incidents that we see there as Luke Whitehead goes negotiating the track successfully on this occasion, goes a little bit closer to Statsenko, but not quite ahead of him. Statsenko obviously will be partnering Jaroslav Honzik, I think, again here today for the Yas Heat Community team. Looks like he's gone even a little bit quicker there. Nearly half a second is his margin now.
Stunning effort there. Very much looking forward to seeing how they will do. There's Grantes Caracas in the number 14 car. That's the Volante squad. One of their cars, the number 1 squad, up into second. So an improvement there. Puts him just a 10th off that top spot. And Statsenko, I think, has actually improved on his time. We saw someone jump back to the pit. There he is, Mikhail Statsenko. Like you say, the Yas Heat Community, number 39. And that thing, I just realised that the kind of livery on the front almost makes it look like a cat. Am I the only one that saw that? I love the GT Omega livery with the Scottish flag on the side. You automatically win because of that. If there was an Iron Brew sponsorship on it, that would be complete.
You can see that the just on the rear wing end plates there, the Scottish flag. I do see what you mean about the whiskers there on the front.
You won't unsee that now. I wholeheartedly apologise.
No, I did. It was in my mind already, but yeah, I mean, definitely not unseeing it now. But yeah, it's a decent livery. But Statsenko is just trying to get himself warmed up at the minute, and this outlap will have 2 attempts probably. By the time he crosses the line here, just 2 more attempts as the 44 once again off at Radion. That's not going to be the last time we'll see that. And the Liper Esports Audi as well off going towards Stavolo.
Oh dear. Again, trouble before. And that's actually very surprisingly easy to do because you're wanting to get on the gas very, very early because you're on the gas for such a long time through Curve Paul Frey, through Blanchimont, and you push the car a little bit too far wide, and then suddenly you're facing the direction from whence you've came. Into the 199 car, so the man with the longest name in the entire series, Noah Sully Vasquez Rodriguez in the 199. That's the second of the Volante Esports cars, hence why there's 2 of them of that colour. Up into 6th, very nicely done there. They're scoring well in the championship so far. The second squad is in. Let me just check my notes. Where is the second one? They're in 5th, actually. The number 1 squad, the 14 cars in 3rd. And the second one's in 5th, so a great representation for Volante in this round. But wow, you said the McLaren would do well. Top 3 all belonging to the British mark. Very nicely done. And the BMWs, the car I thought would be the strongest, currently thought 4th and 5th. Gregor Schill for the championship leader, BS+COMPETITION, is currently in 4th. 6 tenths off the top spot. Still time to go, of course, but only 3 minutes. So if they're not out there doing a lap, and only a couple of cars are actually in the pits in Venice, then that could be the end of their session.
It's certainly going to leave them a little bit further down than they'd want to be at this stage. But yeah, I mean, those 2 teams, BS Competition and West Competition Racing, pulling the most of any BMW team really, in terms of that you'd probably say that they're the 2 strongest teams, and they're still not even able to get in within half a second of Statsenko at the moment. So certainly showing that the McLaren is very well suited to this circuit. But how is that going to change over the race? I believe we are going to get a little bit of darkness later on as well. It's already past 8 o'clock in Sim at the moment. I think the race is going to start at 9 p.m. In Sim, unless I'm entirely wrong about that. Could be. But in that case, we will certainly be getting a little bit of darkness. That's at this, well, at any time of year really. It gets dark by about 10:30. So yeah, we will see that the temperatures plummet. They already have plummeted by 2 degrees in this session, so everybody's got to keep an eye on their tyres because they shouldn't be changing throughout this race, but the temperatures will change quite a lot throughout the hour and a half, so you do need to get your pressures right, otherwise you're going to have either very cold or overheating tyres for an entire race.
Yeah, it's not fun when you're facing that kind of thing, but that is part of the the challenge of Spa, isn't it? On board then with the current championship leaders, the BS Competition BMW in the hands of Gregor Schill. That's the yellow flag. That's someone that's just stopped after the start finish line. That's all that was. Through P1 then, or through Double Get. Oh, that's another spin on Radion again. Looking at the map there, you can see where the yellow marker is. And another trouble there for, that was Holtz in the 74 Porsche that come to grief. Heading down towards campus there. I keep calling it campus chicane. It's been called Fania chicane for God knows how many years, but I just remember it being called the campus chicane. Oh, that's another yellow flag. That was I think that was, actually I'm not sure who that was, in fairness. Oh, it was Scott. It was Jay Scott in the 69 car, beg your pardon. That's one of the McLarens that's had trouble at, yellow flags all over the place. That's the number 5 now that's parked in. That's Jay Eraser in the, I think it's the Aston he's in. But following Gregor Schill then into the chicane, it's often referred to as the bus stop chicane. Strictly speaking, it's not actually that shape anymore. So, but either way, we know what we're on about. Helicam, has he found 6 tenths of a second? He's found 2 tenths of a second, which puts him up into 3rd and breaking the McLaren stronghold, or part of it at least. There's Adam Fester in the, well, there was briefly. There's Ben McConnell in the R&E McLaren. I think he stopped a little early there, so that lap was probably already done. He will start no higher than 12th position. Checker flag out, and everyone has 5 minutes to finish their laps.
Yeah, well, they've basically got to finish the lap that they are on at this stage, and see whether this 1, 2, 3 for McLaren can be restored. Is Luke Whitehead going any quicker out there at the moment? Is Sebastian Aposto may be able to disrupt this McLaren dominance up front as well for West Competition Racing's BMW. I think Whitehead was off there. We saw him off at the campus chicane or whatever you want to call it, here off into the gravel. So he will not be improving, and he will start alongside his main championship rival Gregor Schill in the BS Competition car. But will Sebastian Aposto may be able to jump them both here? It's definitely between Statsenko and Caracas in terms of the pole position here. Not expecting anybody else to get in amongst that. But or are there going to be any improvements a little bit further down? Statsenko does improve to a 16.0. Caracas 3 tenths away. He's just coming through Stavolo at the moment and will be making his way through the final sector now.
Good God, that's an inhumanely fast lap time. Caracas, the only man that is anywhere close to him, 3 tenths of a second off as we watch Sebastian Aposto for West in the 31 BMW coming through the chicane. Can he, well, again, he's found some time and he's pushed Luke Whitehead even further down. Well, whoa, and that was Caracas having to take avoiding action there. I didn't see who was stranded coming through Blanchimont. That won't be the last time we see a car embedding themselves on the inside wall at Blanchimont. The number 99 car is now, that's the Lutz Motorsport BMW just coming through the last few turns. There is the 199 car. That's the second of the Volante Esports McLarens in 6th position, 9 tenths off the top spot, but still time to find it. Well, still time left to find it. The 116 car is just coming over the line as well. That's the second of the Jardier Community cars. That's the Porsche heading over the line. Do they improve? They are 9th now. But does Rodriguez find any time here? 9 tenths available to him. No, he remained in 6th position. So it's Statsenko and Caracas, the 39 and 14 cars on the front row.
Yeah, well, McLaren front row here, which is a little bit, or not surprising. What is a surprise is Luke Whitehead, unfortunately, not really able to improve. You saw him come over the line for the very first time. He was obviously first car out there and went to the top, and he wasn't able to be toppled, so his first lap time was very strong. But then again, afterwards, he couldn't really improve it almost at all. And so he starts in 5th. We're very disappointed with that, you'd imagine. And we'll see where he can get to in this race. But it is a long race, of course, hour and a half. I would be a little bit surprised to see the BMWs hold on for quite so long in this race. But you never know. Over a race distance, maybe they'll be a bit stronger than they are over one lap.
Very, very true then. So let's have a quick rundown of which cars are where and who's starting. So it's Jaroslav Honzik, the Czech Republic ace, in the 39 car for Yas Heat Community, starting alongside the Volante Racing. As mentioned, it's a McLaren 1-2. It's a BMW 3-4s, the 89 BS Competizione car, jumping up to third position with Angus Fender at the wheel of that to start with. And then it's the number 31, it's the West Competition car, with Nikolai at the wheel. Then it's the number 75 Yas Heat McLaren in the hands of George Boothby, and the 199 car, the second of the Volante racing squads, in the hands of Lucas Sidor. Then a great effort there from the 26 Ferrari. They've struggled a bit so far this season, but that is Harley Smith that starts that one. And then in the 99 car, that does Dieppes for the Lutz Motorsports squad. Felix Dieppes in the BMW. On road 5 is going to be the 116 car. That's the second of the Yas Heat Community cars, the Porsche this time, in the hands of, and I'm probably not going to pronounce this correctly, but to give it a go, Krzysztof Makowski. And joining him is the 112 Audi of Yan Gang.
Absolutely, it's a good grid. It's a very good grid indeed, and we'll see how this race gets on. Really, one thing to note, of course, as you can see on your screen at the minute, so the formation lap starting from this run into Eau Rouge. That is where we're going to begin the race indeed, and of course it means we're using the exceptionally long pit lane here at Spa today, which is something that the drivers will have to contend with.
Right, so as the rolling lap gets underway, let's have a quick word from the sponsors.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Show me what you got. Oh,
Is that everything you got?
last turn.
Catch me if you can.
That was great.
That was a good game.
Unlock true experience with GT Omega.
Unleash the racer in you and feel the thrill of racing all out on the open road.
Welcome back to the GT Omega GT Challenge Cup. Here, round number 4 at Spa. 1.5 hours of racing ahead. Some of the starting drivers are actually being corrected there. Not quite the ones I read out. So it is indeed Statsenko that starts the number 35 Yas Heat McLaren. And it is indeed Grantis Caracas that starts the 14 car. Gregor Schill in the 89 BS Competizione car. Sebastian Apostel in the 31 West car. Luke Whitehead in the 75 McLaren. I think the rest will remain unchanged, with those top few had changed their starting driver. Oh, time for the nerves to start to rattle. Whilst it's a bit of a longer, it is an endurance race in GT terms. Yes, of course, we'd see the 24 hours of Spa and what have you. 1.5 hours is still long enough for the nerves to kind of jangle a bit. But the drivers need to kind of keep their cool, and see what's what, and see how the cards fall.
Absolutely, it certainly will be the time when people are just heightening their senses a little bit, going into the first turn, of course, being on the run down to, well, I'm not sure whether we're going to get the green towards La Source or towards Eau Rouge, because the start-finish timing line is between the bus stop and La Source, but the cars lined up going down towards Eau Rouge. So place your bets at home, really. I don't know where we're going to begin this race, but I'm sure these guys will be aware, and we will obviously get underway when we get underway. But I do think, looking at drawing on 2 weeks ago at Donington Park, the Yas Heat Community car did have good pace throughout the first half of the race and did keep pace with the front two for a little while, but after a while they did start to struggle, and in the end the 75 and 89 battled out the race win between themselves, with Statsenko and Alonzik falling away to the tune of about 6 or 7 seconds by the end. I do fear that will happen again. Maybe it'll be a different story leading from the front, but they do need to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself in that sense, and they can keep pace with the leaders for the entirety of the race this time. I think they will have a maybe easier time of things controlling the race from the front on this occasion rather than coming from behind.
Very, very true, and we will see as the field now being led by Mikhail Statsenko through Blanchimont and heading down towards the chicane. Now, for those unfamiliar with the tower, the orange number 1 indicates that the car has one mandatory pit stop to serve, and there will be a mandatory driver change going on for the competitors as well. So they might stop, but if they don't change, they're going to have to come in again and stop once more. So now the 2x2 line is reformed. Oh, steady, doing your braking in the middle of the 2x2. Strictly speaking, you shouldn't really do that, but a few people just getting the last bit of heat into their brakes, and George Caracas, what am I on about? Almost overtaking Statsenko there, but he's going to have to fall back. There we go. Oh, come on, that's getting fidgety, nerves are jangling, but like you say, I think they are actually going to start on the old start-finish line, or the GT start-finish line, call it as you will. It's a few people were probably expecting the race to get underway coming down towards the source. We will see. Obviously, no one's gotten going again. You can see the timing has not started. That's why no one has absolutely floored it. That's such a wide line through La Source there. It's not going to give you any run down the hill, I'm afraid, Mr. Caracas. Right. Enough of the waffle. It is time to get down to business. As they approach the line, the flag will wave and the race will be green. It is time to wind them up and let them go. We are racing here at Spa-Francorchamps. Of course, it being a rolling start, everybody gets a steady run down the hill through Eau Rouge and up and over Radion. Now this is going to put Statsenko at a slight disadvantage as everybody behind is going to slipstream off of him, but who is going to make advantage of that? There's Apostle in the BMW just jumping out. The camera can't see through the trees. And now Apostle's actually giving himself a bit of a disadvantage because he's not slipstreaming off of anyone. There goes Caracas on the outside line, coming down towards Lake can't use it. Oh, and look at that. You've got then fourth being challenged by, that's Luke Whitehead in the McLaren. Oh, nearly impact as they come through Normandy. That's Gregor Schill's a little bit slow. That's actually slowed Luke Whitehead down. But Luke up to fourth nonetheless, side by side. Oh, there's a spin there. I think it's the 26 car, beg your pardon. That might be Hamilton in the Ferrari. That's a strange sentence to say, the best of times for a Formula 1 fan. But now coming down the hill, heading towards Pouhon, still side by side. Gregor Schill challenging Grantas Caracas for that second. Right behind them, Apostle and Whitehead having an argument for fourth. But other than the Ferrari, it looks like it's so far so good.
Yeah, Caracas gave it a really good go into Les Combes for the first time of asking there. He was on the outside line going into the first part. He was still there for the second and round the outside through Malmedy. Still the outside line he had for Bruxelles as well, but he wasn't able to make that move work. It's a long way around that right-handed hairpin downhill, of course, and that just made his life too difficult. He couldn't get through. Schill did a good job to hold on to second, but I'm afraid Apostle has not had a good start in the West Competition racing car, getting overtaken by those two McLarens. He's under pressure from Voitana as well. At the Voitner, I should say, at the moment as well in the Porsche, dropping down to sixth. His fatal mistake, as you said at the time, on the Kemmel Straight when he pulled out of the slipstream too early. Unfortunately, everybody else was drafting around him, and he was left out there to die in the wind on his own, unfortunately. So he's down to sixth and under pressure again.
Beg your pardon, it was the 28 BMW Foster. Oh, no trouble! Oh, which one of the Maccas is that's gone round? Yeah, it was Voitner, beg your pardon, it was a Porsche that's just gone round. That's the Jardier 116 Porsche. Oh, that's tragic so early on. At least he'll have time, or the team will have time, to try and recover that particular mistake. But that's the nature of closed GT racing. A small mistake, not even your own mistake, can really put pay to your race. Now we're going to start to see the slipstreaming going on. Right behind Max Faulkner is the 72 BMW. That's Nathan Carey that's the Rev Sport International BMW that's chasing him up and over Radion now. Not taking a bit of liberty with the inside curb, but at least he's up and running again. Up front, Caracas still chasing Statsenko. Let's have a look at what happened to the Porsche then. Oh, beg your pardon. No, this is the 28 BMW that's had a bit. Oh, punch in the face. Oh, and then collected one of the Audis there as they are trying to come out of Mobility. That's what happened to Foster in that 28 car. That was the 44 Audi that collected him, unfortunately. Cavosi was a bit of an innocent victim there. He just couldn't quite get out of the way when he needed to. It's side by side there, Christian. No, and that's the Bentley into the wall. Big trouble behind. Several cars affected by that one. Oh, and another spinner just ahead of them. Oh, no. Verstappen is the innocent. Well, it did look like there was a bit of a touch there on the Bentley. That's disaster for the sole Bentley in the field.
Yeah, it was a real disaster. I'm afraid that wall on the outside line, the entire wall, does spit you back out into traffic once again if you do get things wrong, and that's exactly what's happened there. At least 3 cars involved. I think the Aston Martin, was involved as well, the number 5. A number of cars getting caught up in that one. I'm sure we'll have a replay in a few moments' time. There's been a lot going on in this opening part of this race. The field so tightly packed together. If one car goes around, then you can be sure that a lot of them are going to be involved, and that's unfortunately what has happened in that situation. It was indeed the 26 Ferrari that got involved as well, I'm afraid. So an unfortunate incident so early on in this race, but it's bound to happen. It's one of those incidents where you don't really know how to call it, because the Audi was down the inside for Lipa Esports there, and were they far enough alongside? Did the Bentley come down on them? Did they miss the apex and go wide into the Bentley? It's a very 50-50 incident. Not entirely sure how to call it, really.
Yeah, we couldn't really see from that aerial shot who was at fault there. But that's a shame for the Bentley. That's been recovered straight back to the pits. That's the 26 car. That's the Kamikaze Ferrari that has also come in. I think, looking at the map, that might be the 28 BMW that's come in. Not entirely certain. No, it is the Ferrari, as I thought. Up front, though, Statsenko for Yas Heat, still keeping the number 14. It's a McLaren 1-2 at the moment. Gregor Schill a little bit further back, just out of camera shot in third position. Luke Whitehead up to 4th. So, yeah, 4 of the top 5, all McLarens. Putting my original prediction a little bit into question, but we'll see if that carries on as the race goes on. Let's have another replay here. Let's see which one is that. This will be the Bentley then. So what happened here? So that was a bit of a jump from the 172 car, I think it was, that just caught that inside curb, and then unfortunately it was a bit of a cascade effect from there.
Yeah, it's still difficult to call, really, even after seeing it from 2 angles now. That curb obviously didn't help, but you have to factor it in when you're firing one down the inside there, so I'm not entirely sure if any blame is going to be apportioned there or not. What I can say for sure, though, is that that's a real shame for P2 Simsport, the only Bentley in the field, but 6th place in this championship coming into today, and they've built that on consistency. I don't think they've been inside the top 6 all season, certainly haven't in terms of a finishing position. However, they've managed to get up there in the championship because of their consistency. That has fallen apart a little bit today, while the Ferrari has been able to get repairs done and get back out there. I don't believe we're going to see the Bentley again. I believe we might already be down to 20 runners in this race, although I do think they are still trying to get that Bentley repaired.
Look at this, Robin Hurleman for the RNE Endurance number 125 car, fending off the advances of the number 70. That's the Rise for Esport Porsche, currently being driven by Yuri Valek. A great battle there. You saw the McLaren defending all the way through Blanchimont. Now, battle for 5th position being looked at. Luke Whitehead in the 75. That is the Yas Heat McLaren being challenged by the 2nd of the Volante Racing cars. That's the 199 McLaren climbing the hill and up and through We're through Eau Rouge and up and over Radion. We are currently looking. Well, actually, the car behind is the BMW. Beg your pardon. That's the 31 BMW of Sebastian Apostle, the West Racing Beamer that is challenging Noah Rodriguez. Sorry, excuse me, I got that one slightly wrong. Luke Whitehead is the McLaren. It's almost in no man's land, though. He's not under immediate challenge. It's Rodriguez that's being challenged by Apostle as they come out of Malmedy down towards Bruxelles. But it's no huge, I say no huge gap. There's 2 seconds for Gregor Schill to try and close down. He's not under immediate pressure from Luke Whitehead, but we've seen this before where people get into a rhythm early on, don't necessarily push too hard too quickly, and it all comes back to them later on. We'll see if that's the case. Gregor Schill leading the lead BMW in the BS+COMPETITION number 89. They don't have to do anything silly. They're already championship leaders with a bit of a buffer, so they don't necessarily have to do anything silly to try and close down. The Volante Racing squad, who's already ahead of them, are third in the championship, and the number 39 car is some way down the field. So I think that's a new entrant, isn't it? The 39, 38 was already here, but the 39 wasn't. So Gregor Schill could just basically mind his own business, and if the race finished now, they'd still be leading the championship. But you never want to give any points away to your opponents.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if which numbers are wrong in terms of the 39 car. Which number are they supposed to have? Not entirely sure. That was the team that made their debut last time around at Donington Park and ended up in third place, just about 6 or 7 seconds off the leading two. So. And obviously Statsenko and Jaroslav Honzik are very, very recognised and very strong ACC drivers in particular. So they will be a force to be reckoned with in this one. But I do think that Schill is just going to kind of hold where he is at the moment. Obviously, they will have known going into today that this race will be less about going on the attack and trying to gain points, more staying back and trying to preserve what you've got and just limit the damage almost. That's going to be inflicted today by the McLarens. This is a very good job by them at the moment because their nearest rivals, the 75 team, Yas Heat GTWR, currently behind them at a track that should suit them, and obviously they came in with a 32-point head start as well. So it's almost a dream scenario for Schill and Fender right now.
Indeed, can they hold that for the next hour and 20 minutes? There is Noah Sully, Vasquez Rodriguez again, still under pressure from the West Competition Racing BMW in the hands of Sebastian Apostle, and that challenge is not going anywhere. He's very, very close to the tail end of the McLaren. So is he going to make the move? Again, he could just be biding his time. That's something else you'll see, particularly early on in these longer GT races. People won't necessarily make the move if they can't then keep that momentum going onto an attack of somebody else. There's Robin Holleman that doesn't have the luxury of anyone to chase, or well, he has plenty of people to chase, I should say. But the Lutz Motorsport number 99, Felix Dieppes, is too far down the road to gain any kind of slipstream of, and Yuri Velik has really been looking to try and challenge again. Now the look on the inside line coming down towards the Fanny chicane, but didn't commit to the move. But equally, look who's right behind him. It's the 112 Audi. Yan Gang is right behind. So when you've got a pair of cars together, you either see a kind of punch and counter punch routine going on, or you see, whoa, that Porsche's wide. I think Yuri Vilik is not interested in staying behind the R&E Team Red McLaren. I think he's really wanting to get on with it, whereas Holleman, he's just doing really good defensive driving, just positioning his car really, really nicely to keep the Porsche at bay. But as soon as you add a third car to that mixture, the kind of punch and counter punch routine becomes very much more unpredictable. You know who's going to be stronger in which particular corners, who's is going to be better on whatever drive points. But now the Porsche having a look at the outside line. Oh, is he going to switch the inside? Oh, that was really, really late, but well observed by Robin Holleman there. That if he turned in any sharper, that Porsche would have been squashed into the wall, and that would have sent them both into the spin. So that was brilliantly observed. Surely Valley is going to have to bow out of that. Yeah, he does. He slots back behind the McLaren. But that was brilliant situational awareness there by Holleman.
There was only just about a Porsche-sized gap down the inside there, but Valik made sure that he was going to slot his car into that one. That was really very, very close between the two of them there. As once again he tries it around the outside. Lecom goes off wide, and Lipa Esports are surely going to be able to capitalise on this now with Yan Gang down the inside, although gets his nose chopped off coming into the final part of the Lecom complex, I should say there, and unfortunately will stay in 10th place. But yeah, Hulleman defending at the moment. Didn't have to do an awful lot through the middle sector there. Valek was just kind of probing and setting up his move, and then he tried to strike into La Source after a poor run off the bus stop chicane from the McLaren. Valek couldn't quite get through, and he stays in ninth after that mistake. Indeed, he's got a bit of work to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As again, very well defended there by Hulleman. He didn't have to do an awful lot, although Valek is still straight back on his case as we now ride on board with the Noah, Sonny, Vasquez, Rodriguez, who still had, you can see in the rearview mirror at the top, that's the Sebastian Apostle that is still ready to cause trouble wherever he can, but at the moment not quite close enough to kind of challenge for any kind of position. Doesn't mean he'll stay that way, and Rodriguez now has got Luke Whitehead ahead, again, strange sentence, to try and challenge. But if you look at the tower slightly further down where Hulleman is, he's now got 9/10 of a second as a breathing gap. There we go, as the helicam cuts to them in 8th position, starting in 12th, I believe it was, or 10th or 12th, slightly further back than that. And look at that, you've got Valek now has the Audi and the treble 3 McLaren to deal with. So Yuri Valek can't just try and concentrate on closing in on the RNE 125 car. He's got to now defend himself. But that seemed a bit too desperate from Yuri Valek there. I'm not entirely certain why he was trying so hard to try and get past so early. I mean, sure, if he feels like he's got the pace, why not? But he looked too desperate. He just needed to bide his time a bit more. But easy for me to say. I know we're only 15 minutes into an hour and a half race. I grant you, I'm not the one in the cockpit, and no team would want me in the cockpit. I grant you that. There's a reason why I go for the commentary box rather than the driver's seat. But and again, look how defensive Valek has had to go. As Yan Gang looked set to try and capitalise on the slipstream, couldn't quite do it. So now Valek, from trying to make that move probably a bit too early on Hulleman, is defending and losing time against the 125 McLaren.
Yeah, Valek can see up the road, though, that the gap to Philip Steepers and Sebastian Apostle as well. He's over 10 seconds already, over 10 seconds away from a 6th place. If he believes he has the pace to be with those guys, then he's going to want to get through very quickly here, because Hulleman, being stuck behind Hulleman, is only costing him time. Unfortunately, the mistake that he made about this time 1 lap ago does mean that he's now falling into the clutches of Yan Gang, and indeed at Matt High as well, in the 333 McLaren. That's one of the 4 new entries for this round as well, the Fortinoid BSR McLaren. You can see that Fortius Galanos is going to be getting into that car a little bit later on, so we look forward to that. But that is the best performing new entry out of the 4 debutants coming here to Spa today.
It's great to see new entrants joining. I love the name of the number 5 who joined us last time around, Last Minute Competition. Love it. They're one of the few Aston Martins, as we see Apostle having a go at Rodriguez coming down into the chicane. Can he get it done? Not quite. Well defended there from Rodriguez, and the first penalty of the race has been applied. Literally, before he could even say the words, 2 penalties applied, both 15-second penalties. Diepes for Lutz Motorsport in the 99 has had a 15-second penalty applied, along with Yan Gang in the Lippert number 112. Oh dear, that's not what you want to see. Diepes was rather minding his own business, so quite what he did to earn the penalty, and hopefully we've got an update on why that penalty has been applied. It could be track limits, so which again is very easy to wander that little bit too wide. As I said before, there are certain spots in this track where you want to maximize your exit speed. You might argue you always want to maximize your exit speed from a corner. We'll now look at Guido Zito. Again, I'm not 100% sure how that's pronounced. That's one of the last-minute competition. I'll try that entire sentence again. That is the last-minute competition Aston Martin, as he's chasing down the 72. That's Nathan Carey in the Rev Sports BMW. There's a particular spot you really need to maximize your exit speed, because you're on the gas for such a long period of time. There's certain points where it's more crucial, I should say, to rephrase the sentence properly. Because you're trying to get on the gas a little bit earlier to be on the gas longer, it's very easy to wander too wide and pick up those track limit warnings.
Yeah, you are correct. It's one of those circuits where the track limits are a particular problem in terms of exceeding them, but I do feel like it's far too early in the race to be receiving a 15-second penalty. I also, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure you get a drive-through anyway when it's a track limit kind of thing. So not entirely sure, but we have got confirmation through now. It's all due to lap 1. The stewards are filing their way through lap 1 incidents, and there were a few of them. So the car 99 and 112 have got collision, a penalty for causing a collision on lap 1, and a 5-second penalty has gone to the 991 car for avoidable contact as well. There's a few penalties as this battle for 15th continues on.
Sorry to jump over you there, Ewan, but that was a bit close from Guido Zito there. There is Yang Gang, and where has the rest of their pursuers gone? Where's Matt High disappeared to? That's, bigger button, that is Yang Gang and Matt High, so they've actually fallen off the back of Valek. So that's what happened there. Yep, you're indeed correct. So what was a 15-second penalty for causing a collision? That's what the 99 and 112 cars have earned theirs for. We lost the 991 Bentley, alas, due to that big impact they had up at Speaker's Corner. That has seen the end of their particular race. They are no longer in the session. You never want to see it. You want to see a race end like that. But yeah, you were absolutely spot on. Too early for track limits. That is stewarding that has decided, nope, you are doing things you shouldn't be doing. Penalty is applied for that. They were deemed to be at fault for those incidents. Now we're starting to see a kind of rhythm building, some gaps forming up top. Let's see a replay then of, that's the McLaren getting very, very squiggly. That's what the penalty was for. And the McLaren then just kind of stranded. Well, that's a pretty slam dunk penalty there. You can't really argue. That was that was Diepes in the BMW and that one. And from that perspective, I'd say that penalty was fair.
Yeah, I don't think we've actually got a resolution on that one yet, because that didn't look like lap 1, and it didn't look like a BMW or an Audi doing the hitting either. So I think that penalty is yet to come through, but there may be one coming up soon. It was the 724, I think, that was the Porsche trying to head down the inside, maybe, on the 23, maybe. That's the only Porsche and McLaren combination I can see next to each other anymore. So I'm just doing a bit of, what's the word? Speculating is the word. So who knows, really. We'll wait and see, of course, and keep you updated on any stewards' decisions that come through. But yeah, this battle is certainly helping the likes of Hulleman and Valek get away at the moment. Yang Gang was briefly, was for most of this race in front of Matt High, but eventually that has changed now. McLaren has finally got through into 10th place and can maybe start to chase down Hulleman, who's also been displaced by Valek.
Nathan Carey has lost that 15th spot to Guido Zito in the number 5 Aston Martin now. As you can see, the pink wheel, well, it looks pink on my camera, pink wheeled Aston. Oh, using all the available road. The tail gets a bit lively on that Aston. It's an absolute monster in a straight line, though, as he charges off down towards, or through Curve Wolfram and then into Blanchimont on their merry way. Statsenko leading the way now by 3.2 seconds over Caracas, over Grantes Caracas. That's the view back from the number 1 car. That's what 3 and a bit seconds looks like. You can barely see the Volante Racing McLaren, but again, is he pushing too hard too soon? Is he burning the best out of those tyres? We will see. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. That always counts. Gregor Schill in the number 89, the BS+ Competition BMW. Almost the same gap back again. There they are, unchallenged at the moment. Then it's Luke Whitehead in the 75 Yas Heat McLaren. There he is. He's again the top guys, top 4 at least, are a little bit spread out. But Rodriguez in the 199 Volante Racing McLaren does not have the benefit of breathing space as Sebastian Apostel in the number 31 BMW. He's right with him, but not immediately under his rear wing now. So it could be that Apostel has had to back off a little bit. It could be he's made a small mistake. We don't entirely know. It looked a little hot there from that camera angle coming into the Fanny chicane, but kept it going rather nicely. So it is still speaking a battle for 6th. This battle, though, for 9th position. So Hulleman in the 125 McLaren has now been caught. It is by the treble 3 McLaren of Matt High. Oh, again, that looked a little bit deep from Matt there, but he did manage to keep it under control. So keeping his, well, it's almost a McLaren parade. You've got the Audi of Yan Gang at the back of that particular conga line that is pressing on, but it does look like Matt High is really, really interested in muscling his way past Hulleman. Now, Hulleman was up in 8th last we saw, so there's been an exchange there as now Yuri Valek is into 8th position. We saw how determined he was in the Porsche to try and claim that particular position for the 70 Porsche. As we come down into the chicane, and there is Valek in the number 70 car. The Riser Esports Porsche. They'll be handing that over to Wojtek Dvorak later on. There's Matt High ready to do battle in the treble 3, or has technically been doing battle. Is the Yang Gang closing in on them, coming through Lecom. Let's see here. Hulleman's had very little breathing space in this race. So anytime he's had a few tenths to himself, it's soon been gobbled up. But that is the nature of the circuits. Because the slipstream effects are so powerful, it's very, very difficult to maintain a small gap over anyone.
It is relatively difficult. I mean, Hulleman seems to be finding life very difficult at the moment in this race. Not entirely sure why, but just seems to be struggling. Valek was justified, it seems, in his eagerness to get through, because he's pulled nearly 2 seconds on him already in about a lap's time. And Matt High is cruised up to the back of the R&E McLaren at the minute, and he's trying to find his way through. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure why Hulleman is finding things quite so difficult, but on the defensive once again. You get the feeling that he's going to be defending from Yan Gang as well before too long, as we go a little bit further back in the field to a bit of an incident through the campus chicane.
That's what happened to Hulleman. That's the 125 McLaren. So he just got out of shape going through the left fan chicane. Thank you very much, production. Well spotted.
Yeah, that was I did wonder. It was a bit of a mistake. We'll see if Hulleman can maybe recover now then, because he did take 3 attempts out of the Porsche in the first sector, but there aren't many corners around there, so we'll really see through the middle sector whether he's able to close Valek back in again. I somewhat doubt it, especially given the pressure that Matt High is pushing onto him at the moment.
Could well be. I think the 125 is going to be playing the defensive game for a while. Ben McConnell will be taking over the R&E Team Red McLaren come driver time. He started that car at Monza, I seem to recall, so it's Hulleman that has the starting privileges in that car this time around. That gap is very much ebb and flow, isn't it? I didn't think the Porsche would be as strong as it's proven to be in the hands of Yuri Valek. It's very much like, hold my drink, I'll have a go at this. And fair play, you know, I enjoy being proven wrong in that sense. I love seeing, as you were saying earlier, Ewan, those that are dragging either a lesser performing car up into new heights, or others that are capitalizing on those that possibly are struggling a little bit more. We will see. Now Matt High is under pressure a little bit more from Yang Gang behind. Is the Audi now going to start to press its advantage as Robin Hulleman has closed in a little bit on Valek ahead of him? Is now the treble 3 McLaren going to have to play a bit of defensive, and he's going to gain a tiny bit of slipstream. Around about 8 tenths is as much as you want to be away from anybody if you want to still gain the slipstream, and even then it's pretty weak. But of course, you quite clearly see Yang Gang is close enough, but not really pressing an advantage. He may well just be biding his time. Now a second between those 2 McLarens in that particular train. So Hulleman really has a great opportunity to press on after Valek. He's taken nearly half a second in that particular sector alone. So did Yuri Valek have a bit of a bad run up Eau Rouge and over Radion? So we didn't really see.
Sorry.
Carry on.
Sorry, not entirely. Because once again, there's not many corners really. Only La Source, I know Eau Rouge and Radion, but it's mainly a straight. So I just wonder if that Porsche's a little bit down on straight line speed compared to the McLaren. Maybe that's the only reason I can think of rationally.
Could well be. It could well be. I thought that the Porsche would be slightly weaker in the straights than the McLaren. So that could well be it. Or, Yuri Valek had a bit of a bad run through those few corners. we don't know. Oh, and again, you see Hullerman. That's where it went wrong for him before. That's very, very low downforce on that McLaren. Here comes Sebastian Apostle on Rodriguez. That's getting very, very close. But well defended, though, from the 199 McLaren. I mean, Noah Rodriguez, nothing wrong with that. Firm but fair defense. No impact between the two. And Apostle is going to have to not necessarily rethink the move, but he's going to have to try that one again. Is he going to try the move into Les Combes? Again, if he does, that will then leave him vulnerable to counterattack a lap later. We will see. But Apostle really had the run through Blanchimont on the McLaren ahead of him. And over Radion once again. Is he going to try and press on, or is he going to stay back? Just watch the speed counter rise. Now, you'll know if he's going to back off. Very defensive posture then from Noah Rodriguez. Here comes Sebastian Apostle again. And he's committed, but he's going to be squeezed a bit coming through Les Combes. Who's going to win out here? Is it going to be the BMW or the McLaren? Very close as they now come through more, but he's still side by side. It's victory BMW. Great move from Sebastian Apostle. West Competition Racing up into 5th.
Yeah, a very nice move indeed to really make it work through Les Combes. Of course, you do need to go very deep around the outside through the first part there, because while you do have the inside for the second part, you still have the outside for Malmedy as well. So Apostle needed to get that far alongside. In the end, he actually had his nose in front in the braking zone and then was able to take control through the second part. He squeezed Rodriguez a little bit, maybe put the McLaren off a little bit as well, to be honest, and then made sure of the move through the final corner of the complex. So he is up to 5th now, and these BMWs looking stronger and stronger as the laps go on. It seems that their one lap pace, while it was nowhere near as good as the McLarens, it is in the long run pace where they maybe have not a bit of an edge, but they're certainly more even with the McLarens than we saw in qualifying. As you're seeing at the moment, Gregor Schill still 3.6 seconds behind Carreras at the moment, which is not really coming down at all. So they're rather matching each other at this stage rather than the McLarens pushing out an advantage.
Yeah, the top 4 have only really kind of spread out a little bit. I think it's Luke Whitehead in the 75. The Yas Heat McLaren, he's possibly falling a little bit off the back of the BS+ Competition BMW in the hands of Gregor Schill. That's really the only change we've seen in the top 4. But now that Sebastian Apostle has gotten past Noah Sully Vasquez Rodriguez in the 199 McLaren, he's already almost a second ahead. So now has Apostle saved a little bit in his tyres to try and press an advantage at this point. Slightly further back as Adam Foster in the 28 BMW, now on the back of the 69 car. As they come through Blanchimont themselves, heading down towards the chicane. Is Adam going to try and banzai that one? No, it's from that far back. It was only ever going to go on if he tried that. McLaren versus BMW. As that, here we go, lovely aerial shot. That very colourful BMW chasing the menacing black McLaren of Norden into, and now very early apex there into Les Combes for the McLaren. I'm not convinced that's the greatest way to do it, because it is going to compromise your exit speed, but that could be the way that he set up the car. It could be personal driving style difference. I would think, though, that Adam Foster is going to surely utilize his advantage. He looks much quicker coming through Eau Rouge and Radion, then onto the Kemmel Straight. But did he back off? It's near impossible to tell from that camera, especially when we're looking through the trees. Yeah, I think he's backed off his momentum a little bit. He's tried. Is he just going to apply the pressure? Can he outbrake the McLaren? Difficult to do for the BMW. Side by side again into Malmedy, but no, that's going to be advantage McLaren. So Adam Foster, I think he's just piling the pressure on at this stage.
Well, it still is. Outside line into Bruxelles maybe, but it's an exceptionally long way around there, I'm afraid, so won't be able to make that work. He did do a decent job under brakes there up the hill towards Les Combes, but gave a little bit too much room actually to the McLaren on the inside there, and so couldn't really make the move. Got shoved out through the third part and couldn't make the move in the end, but just needs to be a tiny bit more aggressive on the entry to the first part of Les Combes there if he wants to make this work. As both of these teams in their first race this season in this championship, two of the 4 new entries for this race at Spa, And so they wanted to make a good impression on everybody else rather than a bad one. And that might be a slight bit of motivation for Adam Foster to give quite so much room. But if he wants to make this move work on the outside of Lecombe, which he's going to have to do if he wants to get through at all, then he does need to squeeze that McLaren just a little bit more. Not run him out of road, but just give him a little bit less room, because there was at least a car width between them last time.
Indeed, indeed. And that battle continues on apace. Oh, is Adam going to have a look on the outside line this time, coming down towards the chicane? And again, no, just application of pressure at the moment. I mean, all that's really going to do is slow them both down. Although the 116 Porsche is quite some distance behind, so they're not kind of having to look behind them at this stage. They are having quite a decent fight for 12th position right now. That is, I think, the closest position battle we've got at the moment. So down the hill again into Eau Rouge. And we know how strong that BMW is in the straight line. And again, these drivers are running quite skinny setups. I mean, particularly that 125 McLaren Hulleman. We've seen that really, really squiggly through the twisty bits. Oh, now the BMW didn't follow the McLaren onto that inside line. Is he going to try and outbrake him again? Here we go, round... Oh, well, I've lost count of how many times they've been trying this one. Still side by side through Lecombe. It's now going to be Malmedy. We can't see the McLaren in that shot. And still there, still side by side as the BMW runs out of road. But the McLaren's kept his foot in it. Adam Foster determined to get this one done. Oh, and there's impact between the two. And Adam Foster has spun off. Oh, he hadn't completed the move. I mean, sure, he was ahead, but he was on the outside line. I think that was going to be a bit optimistic for him to try and claim that as his own. I don't think he should have turned in. I mean, it's easy for me to say. I grant you that. We couldn't quite see that. Hopefully we'll get a replay of what happened there, but I think that was a bit too optimistic from Adam Foster.
Well, it was a much better attempt from him at Lecombe on the last lap there. He made it side by side, and despite being squeezed right up to the very limit of the law through Malmedy, he was still able to make it work. But yeah, he wasn't quite fully clear yet. Tried to come down on the car on his inside there, and I'm afraid has gone around. I don't think that was Norden's fault really. Foster tried to cut the nose off there when he wasn't quite clear. Let's have another look. This is where he gets squeezed right up to the very limit. He's not quite clear into the braking zone here. Very nearly is, but not quite. Oh, it's a difficult one to call, really. Yeah. I don't think you can blame the McLaren too much, I don't think.
Yeah, that one was awkward because, again, from that camera, it did look like the BMW had actually got ahead. But he did rather return to the racing line a bit abruptly, and the McLaren just couldn't slow down enough. I think that was more a kind of racing incident. I don't think it would be penalty worthy, but the stewards will have a look at that one. We will see if any penalty is applied as a result, as the BMW, of course, did spin off. We have a couple of cars in the pits. number 44, I did see it spun. Cavosi had spun a little while ago, and there he is, Sam Cavosi. Has put the 44 car into the pits then, along with the 116, the Yas Community Porsche. Christopher Machowski has brought that one in. Oh, that's but wrong one, as Machowski's going to be taking that over. It's Max Voigtner that's actually coming back out in the 116 Porsche, so stayed in the car. Yeah, it's such a long pit lane. Spy, it feels like it's forever. You're on the speed limiter for Sebastian Apostel. He's wow, he really has cleared Noah Rodriguez by quite some way. 2 seconds to the good now for the BMW, and he's got 4 seconds just shy of to close in on the Yas Heat McLaren. Luke Whitehead is rather minding his own business in that one at the moment. We'll see if the BMW is able to close in. I would have thought it was a bit early for driver changes and what have you, but some people may opt to just take a short stint at this stage, and we'll see. Oh, that's close. Oh wow, you saw how Craig Hamilton had to completely get out of that, otherwise he was going to slam into the back of the Cos Esports McLaren. That could have got very, very nasty. Craig Hamilton well avoided there in the Sol Ferrari.
Yeah, it was well avoided. Unfortunately, yeah, the 44 car is now out of the race. The Audi there, unfortunately for Sam Cavosi, went off at Radion and is now at the race. This car has already been in the pit lane and off, so Craig Hamilton just trying to get back up the order a little bit, and it will begin to do that now with this pass for 17th position on the 23 McLaren. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it is too early for people to be coming in the pit lane. In all honesty, Voigtner obviously has been in there. As long as he does a driver change, obviously, then it's okay. There's no pit window here in this championship, and we are within an hour. So in terms of fuel, you can definitely make it. Just that the second driver has to do a little bit more driving than the first driver, but for some pairings that will be absolutely okay. It's Mashkowski, excuse me, who's going to be into the car now. He'll be taking that car to the end. Hopefully, well, he has found a bit of clean air, a little bit more fuel on board, of course, but he's found some clean air, and he will be able to pump out the lap times. No tyre changes, of course, being made either, so there's no real benefit to going halfway, half and half on this one. If you don't want to, make an early pit stop and shake things up a little bit, and that's what they've done in the 116.
Yeah, fair point, well made. Indeed, that is Krzysztof Machowski that has taken over the Jardier Community Porsche. As we look back from Yuri Valik, who's very much got the headlights of the 125 McLaren to deal with again. So bearing in mind, we saw these two really having a great scrap earlier on. Has the Porsche burnt the best out of his tyres? Is Robin Hulleman now really pressing on to regain that 8th position before their stop? Yeah, you make a good point, Ewan. Drivers don't have to split the pit stops half and half. They can split it however they choose to, and they come in now, tank the car, they will make it home again. So yeah, fair point, well made. Yellow flag for disappeared rather quick. I think that's Nathan Carey, in the 72, that's had a bit of a moment there. That was on the run from Normandy down to Bruxelles. I've spun a car there into the wall. Virtually, of course, not really. I haven't actually been to Spa in its physical form, in sim racing terms. Many times I've done many laps and been to many cars. So, yep, it is easy to do. You run a little bit wide on Normandy because you're carrying a fair amount of momentum. Your mistake goes quite a long way as well. Look at Hulleman now. Well, he's pressing on. Like you said, it could well be the straight line speed. Bit of a deficit there in the Porsche. We've seen how squiggly that McLaren gets when it's cornering, so it's running very narrow wings. Again, not entirely unsurprising here at Spa. So the Porsche may just be, has got that bit more cornering efficiency, but that is really hurting it along, from that run through Coeur-Portray and Blanchimont, and it will certainly hurt it here along the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, it will. Hulleman's race has been a little bit strange so far, it has to be said. Earlier, obviously, in this stint, he was struggling quite badly, and Valik was all over him. A mistake eventually led to the pass, but now Hulleman's finding his feet again and moving forward once again. This Porsche definitely a bit slower in a straight line, and if Hulleman can get a little bit closer next lap around, we are surely going to have a move on, and I think it's going to be a very easy one for Hulleman to make this McLaren a lot quicker than that Porsche up the Kemmel Straight there. And this is going to be an easy move as long as Hulleman can get close enough and stay close enough, because through the middle sector this Porsche is stronger.
Yeah, that Porsche is very good in its cornering efficiency, which is where the Porsche is naturally very strong anyway. So Valik is still doing a pretty good job of maintaining a strong top 10 position at the moment. Yeah, Hulleman, like you say, has certainly found some pace. He's left Matt High behind by 1.3 seconds, although it's not quite like that. Of course, it ebbs and flows in the braking zone or whatever. You can see in the aerial shot with the picture-in-picture. At points, those three cars are pretty much equidistant, but on the straighter part, that McLaren really closed in, and that Porsche, look at that. You see how squiggly Yuri Valik got, was coming out of the fan chicane, which is where the Porsche's been quite strong all race long. I suspect those tyres may well have had their best now. This is where Hulleman really closed in on Yuri Valik last time around. Let's follow him through Coeur-Portray into Blanchimont now. Beginning to close up on the Porsche. Wow, isn't he just? Is he going to catch the Porsche at an opportune time to try and overtake you? It depends how confident he is on the brakes. He's gone to the outside low. Whoa, that's a late braking move from Hulleman. Can he slow the McLaren down? Not enough to keep the Porsche at bay, but Struth alive, Robin Hulleman. Great effort there, but didn't quite yield the position he wanted. But Valik is really going to be feeling the pressure now.
He is going to be feeling the pressure, and it's only a matter of time now, surely, before Hulleman will be making this move. The straight line speed of this McLaren is far better than that of the Porsche, and we have got a very, very long straight section coming up here. Eau Rouge and Raidillon really isn't going to do much to give the Porsche a bit of breathing space here. It is going to be all McLaren up this straight, you'd imagine. Although very wide from Hulleman there, that's certainly going to be a track limits violation there, so it would be wishing he doesn't get too many more of those. And that very mistake there looks like it's cost him the opportunity to go through.
Yeah, just the point that he needed a little bit more aero efficiency there. And the dirty F in the Porsche just sent the McLaren off into no man's land. That's the 112 Audi coming in. Yan Gang bringing the Lippert esports car in for its stop and its driver change, along with the 28 BMW. Adam Foster is going to be handing that one over, but Grantas Caracas has been slowly eating away at the gap now, 2.4 seconds. I mean, very, very, very slowly eating away the gap between himself and the 39 McLaren Statsenko for the Yas Heat Community. Still leading the way. Are we seeing anyone else? We're pretty much bang on the halfway point in this race. Certainly not from the top two. There you go, a big cluster of cars in the pits. And Nathan Carey in the 72 Resby International BMW is in, along with the 724 Porsche. Holtz is in for their driver change. So yeah, several people. Well, actually, Tim Holtz on the way out. Well, he was the one, I believe, in the. On the way in. Excuse me. So that there's a Postel from 5th position as well. So yeah, as the halfway stage beckons, lots and lots of driver changes now going to happen.
Yeah, they are. All of the boxes, by the way, are on the run downhill towards Eau Rouge, so nobody has a pit box through the Grand Prix loop here. But they don't want to make people enter at the back. Well, not back straight, is it? But on the straight down towards Eau Rouge, nobody wants to enter there. So we have to drive through the Grand Prix pit lane as well, as you're seeing here with Hulleman and Matt High as well. Making the move in. Diepers as well, who might just have done enough laps here to be able to come out in front of Valek. I know that's just 7 seconds there, but that was edging towards 15 between 7th and 8th before this pit stop window really started. So he might be able to actually serve that penalty and not get anything else for it. Yang Gang has served his as well for Lippert Esports, and so they have made their driver change now as well. It'll be Marcus H. Holm making his debut in the series as well, I believe. Here today for that Audi team, so we'll see how he gets on. But yeah, many driver changes being made at this stage. Only about 6 cars remaining to come in and make theirs.
Yep, indeed. So as we now look at Caracas, was he being closed in? I think it was a back mark he'd just gone past. There is the number 70 Porsche. Yuri Vilik still got company there. Is that I'm just thinking who that is already behind. I think that was Adam Foster's car, wasn't it? Was that Nathan Carey's car? I can't quite tell from that camera angle, but Yuri Vilik doesn't have any immediate position challenge because he hasn't come in yet. Like you say, top 6 yet to see the pit lanes. Now a car's coming back out. Because of the entrance of the pit lane, you're on the pit lane limiter for such a long period of time, and it's horrible how long you have to stay that slow for. There comes Statsenko and Caracas. I'm not surprised they came in at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if the remaining 6 all come in at once. Yeah, Gregor Schell's in. Will we see Luke Whitehead in? Yes, we do. Do we see Rodriguez in? Yeah, the fuel tanks are probably absolutely dry by now, so they may not have a choice. That leaves Yuri Valek, who we've just been watching to grace the pit lane, which I dare say he is going to do this time around. Through Blanchimont he comes to hand that one over to Wojtek Dvorak, and on the riser Porsche will go.
Yeah, every team will have made a driver change by that point, which is exactly what you need to do, and so we'll see how these positions have really changed. In terms of those up towards the front, obviously the 31 West Competition Racing team are going to be ones to watch. Interesting to see Ben McConnell here end up 3.5 seconds behind Galanos, because they were ahead of the 333 before this pit stop cycle. All of a sudden find themselves quite a long way behind. If you think back to 2 weeks ago at Donington Park as well, the 89 BS competition car came in not that very far behind the 75 Yas Heat GTWR McLaren, but they did come out ahead of them by a second or two as well, setting up a great final half an hour or so in a race that ended with only 7 tenths between first and second. We'll see if there are any changes up, especially in that top 5. However, the field a little bit more stretched out, especially in terms of those top 2 positions, top 2 or 3 positions than we saw not so long ago. Although saying all of that, Korekis has managed to get out in front of Statsenko. Well, it's not going to be Korekis and Statsenko, but the 14 car for Volante is out well ahead of the 39.
Wow.
Here out there at the moment. Jaroslav Honzik will have work to do in this race.
It's true. And there is Jaroslav Honzik. Why on earth did that? Was there damage on the car? Did they miss the pit box? I mean, who knows? That's a huge difference. George Boothby now in the 75 car coming out to play. There's Craig Hamilton in the Ferrari working his way through. So it's just the number 70 Porsche to hand its car over. Wow, how quickly that changed. And there is Yuri Vilik. Again, the Porsche still with him in the car. Got to hand that one over. Well, how quickly times can change. So now Volante leading the way as the camera gets distracted by somebody coming past. 7 seconds. I mean, okay, that's probably disrupted somewhat by the just by the point that timing line is changed. But if that lead is correct, Struth alive. Yaroslav's got some work to do as we now look at Fotis Galanos in the treble 3, just coming past one of the Porsches coming out of the pits, and working his way through.
What a stop that has been from the triple 3 there. Not only managed to jump the 125 here of Ben McConnell, but also at the 70 Porsche, which is now under pressure from McConnell straight away. This is a rude awakening for Dvorak in this stint, but holds on to what is 9th place at the moment. A little bit confused, though, about what is going on at the front of the race right now, because the drivers have corrected themselves in the entire field. You see, the other 18 cars have got different drivers driving them now, apart from the one leading this entire race. Grantis Korekis is still at the wheel of that car. Jonathan Riley hasn't got behind the wheel. I wonder whether they're going to have... I mean, are they going to have to come in again? Why didn't they make a driver change last time? Because I'm pretty sure you have to. Obviously, the green box is next to their name because they have been in the pit lane. Which is all you have to do to make that green box go away, or make the orange box go away. But what has gone on there with Korekis? And why has he not got out of the car?
That explains why the pit lane was so short. Jonathan's had a power cut. We've just been updated in chat. Thank you very much, Carter Mick, for that one. Oh dear. That's a bit of a problem because my understanding is they must change drivers. So the number 14 car is going to have to come in whether they like it or not. Joe Scott there in the 69 car. I don't think has he handed that over? Well, I thought he was in it earlier. Oh no, he might have been the qualifier actually for that car as he's chasing the that's Machowski in the 116 Porsche he's having a go with. Oh, that's I beg your pardon, that's Machowski having a go back at Joe Scott there. For that 12th position. Wow, that is getting lively. Now that we're in the latter half of the race, there's going to be less of the kind of just letting the laps go by as Craig Hamilton is back in the pits, I think. Of course, he'd already been in once with damage at the beginning. He now has to serve the actual pit stop, so to speak. So that's trouble for him. But look at the Porsche all over the back of the McLaren. And right behind them is Icorn in the 112 Audi. Side by side coming into the chicane. Nearly impact between them. And there's a Razor as well in the Aston. He's not changed either. Oh, yes, he had. It was Guido Zito, beg your pardon. That was in charge of that. So, yes, he has handed that over. Oh, that's Ben McConnell having a go at Dvorak in the 70 car. Wojtek Dvorak cannot do anything about that in the Porsche. He does not have enough straight line speed to deal with that. Look at that rear shot from McConnell, keeping the Porsche at bay, going very defensive on the way down to Bruxelles. So, of course, this is where the Porsche is going to be a bit stronger than the McLaren, or certainly we've seen how, again, the tail misbehaving on the McLaren. So running very, very little wing, but you can just see when the McLaren is able to deploy its horses, it just edges away from the Porsche. But now we come through, come through P1, you can see the Porsche beginning again. Oh, there's a bit of a yellow flag there. was
Machowski.
that was yes, it was. It was Machowski. Yes, quite right. The 116 has had a bit of a problem, and there we go. Caracas is in again. So, that's such a shame for Volante. They were looking pretty strong, but yeah. Oh, that's, you never want to see it, but they're going to lose so much time as a result of having to come into the pits again.
Yeah, the timing is the worst thing, because if that had happened a little bit earlier, then Caracas just would have stayed out for a little bit longer. He could theoretically have stayed out here until about now, and now come in for Jonathan Riley, because the field would have allowed him to do that. However, it must have happened as he was on his way into the pit lane. We've spoken about how long it is to get into pit lane here. It must have happened on the run down towards the end there, so they couldn't obviously do the driver change anymore and just leave immediately. That's what gave them the lead. But and obviously they have made a pit stop, but they haven't made a driver change. So really unfortunate timing more than anything else. If it's happened any earlier or even a little bit later, they could have gotten away with it. But it was the timing that has undone them here, and they're going to drop all the way down the field. Very unfortunate for Volante. Came into today third, third in this championship after a very strong set of results, not finishing outside of the top 5 all season just yet, but that run is going to come to an end today.
Ben McConnell has dispatched of Wojtek Dvorak in the 70 Porsche. Of course, they've gained the number 14 position, and it's, now the number 14 McLaren is back out on track. We'll see if Jonathan has been able to take over that car, but McConnell's got his eyes very much fixed on that treble 3 McLaren that now has a Galanos in the... Oh, it's Jonathan Riley. Oh no, he's in trouble. Yeah, there's no steering going on there. That's trouble for Jonathan Riley. I suspect that car is done. There's just no operation of the number 14. Oh, that really is a shame. They were looking so strong, and that's bounced back to the pits. That's the end of their day, I dare say.
Well, it could be. I mean, it looked more like a technical, actually, that one on that occasion, rather than a driver completely disconnecting. I suppose Riley has been in the car now, so he might be able to get Caracas in to finish the race, if that's allowed. I'm not sure what the minimum driving time is, but yeah, it's really unfortunate for them. Riley seemed to have control of the pedals there, because he was at least going at a pace, and you're not going to get up Eau Rouge without any throttle at all. So clearly he had control. I think he had control of the pedals there, but not of the steering, because it was set dead straight there, wasn't going anywhere, just scraping along the wall. And yeah, so not entirely sure what the problem is for Riley, but certainly not his day. He had a lot of bad luck today. And so, yeah, he drops down the order. Volante will go out there once more just to pick up the points, I suppose, but they'll be disappointed with the outcome, of course.
Indeed, indeed. As we jump back to this battle for what is now 6th position between Galanos and McConnell and Dvorak. All pretty much equidistant as we come down into Les Combes once again. McLaren versus Porsche in this particular. I think the 14 car is still in the session, so yeah, like you say, Caracas, if he's allowed to take that car over, could well at least cross the line and figure it out in the steward's box later, but they may opt to say, well, what's the point? I mean, who knows? Other people could still have technical issues before them, so it's always worth a try. We have lost a couple of cars already in this race, so we'll see what happens here. McConnell's too far back to challenge, but he has closed in a little bit on the treble 3. He's given himself a bit more breathing space to Dvorak behind. So yeah, there's a real battle forming here. And the number 99 car, the Lutz Motorsport BMW, Till Jorison, is not too far back, about 5.6 seconds behind. So that could become, if these three fight, that could easily bring that BMW into that particular fight.
Yeah, it certainly could. Only just over 5 seconds away at the moment in that 99, but the triple 3 is Galanos has shown great pace so far in this stint. Gotten off to a great start, although McConnell has also shown good pace here, and it looks like he is going to chase down his fellow McLaren here. Dvorak unfortunately doesn't look to have the pace of these two as things stand right now, which is unfortunate, but he may come under fire from the 99 in that case. But yeah, this fight for sixth does look like it's going to get even closer before it gets less exciting, I suppose, because down to 8 tenths. Connell there just able to gain 1/10 of a second through that twisty middle sector, where of course driving skill just come into it the most out of all 3 sectors here.
Oh, yellow flag. It's the 26 car, I believe. Yes, it is. That's the Kamikaze Ferrari again. It's come to grief. That's Harley Smith at Radio, and that car is out. It is, well, I say it's out. It's recovered itself back to the pits. We have indeed lost the number 14. The Volante Racing McLaren is no longer in session. What happened to the 26? We'll hopefully get a replay of what happened to the Ferrari, but I suspect that's just an argument with the walls on the outside of Radion. And we will see as we continue to ride on board with Ben McConnell in the 125 Arnie Endurance, or Arnie Red, depending on what name they go by. We've got a replay coming up. What happened here? So this is the Ferrari down into a Rouge. I suspect it's gotten wrong at the top of Radion. Okay, and there he goes. Oh, wow, that was a bizarre. Just why on it? That looked more like a technical fault, because I can't see why you'd pitch so hard to the right. I can understand the tail getting loose and spinning him, but that looked like he was driven right as opposed to spinning right. Either way, it could just be he didn't have enough time to correct an oversteer moment. Whatever the cause, that number 26 is back in the pits, and that was quite a heavy hit, so we may not see them back in the session. But, Ben McConnell has really closed in on the treble 3 now, so we have a real fight for 6th place.
Yeah, it was that curb really that undid Harley Smith up the top there at Radion. Quite, I think that's why it bent round in such a weird way to the right hand side there. But yeah, really hard hit for that Ferrari, and it's going to be in there for a long time if we do indeed see that car again. As we see another battle going on further down, Maszkowski trying to make up some progress here. This 116 car didn't have the best start to this race, and so is a bit out of position, but a top 10 is not out of the question for them at all. Joe Scott is just up the road here. You can see a racer not too far ahead of him, and then we've got Ishorn as well for Liper Esports. So, there's an oversteer moment for the McLaren, and it's going to go all the way around, is it? Not quite. Scrape along the barrier, but Maszkowski won't care really. He's going to go through, and he's up to 12th. It looks like we've got the battle going on for 6th as well. McConnell down the inside.
Wow, that was a pretty decisive move from Ben McConnell. I mean, Fergus Galanos didn't really defend that whatsoever. A bit surprising there, but it could be that he recognises that the R&E car was a bit quicker. Either way, the Balf Motorsport Treble 3 is down into 7th position now. Has McConnell got enough time to close in on Seedor in the 199? Lucas Seedor, he's quite some distance away, so it could be that that is as high as the 125 car is going to get, but that's still a decent run for them. He's got to hang on to it though, because it doesn't look like Fotis Galanos is going to let that one go so easily.
No, it's certainly not, but I think McConnell does have the edge here. We have seen McConnell start off this stint very, very well indeed, I have to say. There is nearly 30 seconds up to the next car, so don't expect him to be climbing into the top 5 without problems, but he's really driving well at the moment, and Galanos is going to struggle to get through. Of course, we haven't really seen very much of this Triple 3 car before because it is their debut, but it's going to be a big job on their hands to be able to get on terms with this McLaren again. They may be looking over their shoulder though. Dvorak is not too far away still, even though he was easily overtaken, and he is going to find it hard to overtake as well in the Porsche with a lack of straight line speed. But Jorasen as well in the 99 is not too far away for Lutz Motorsports, and they could be a force to be reckoned with as well. So Galanos will be looking over his shoulder quite probably in the remainder of this race.
So Yaroslav Honzik leads Angus Fender, leads George Boothby, familiar names up the top as we ride on board with the number 75, the GTWR Yas Heat McLaren. Very much in no man's land, 7.5 behind Fender, 3.5 ahead, or slightly more than that, ahead of the 31 car, the West Competizione car. Victor Nikolai has got hold of that one and just minds his own business. Really is nothing much more he can do there. As we jump back to the treble 3, that's Photos Galanos. That is very much looking in his tail. On his tail, the Riser Esports Porsche of Victor Dvorak is really closing in. Ben McConnell is, well, he's there. You see him. I think as well as that is a good turn of speed for McConnell. I think this is more Dvorak that is struggling to maintain that kind of pace since jumping in the car, as he's going to have a real hard job defending against Victor Dvorak. But we will see how he does as they start another lap. Under 28 minutes to go now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for Dvorak, really. I know he's got the slipstream of the McLaren, but it's still a very good, quick car in a straight line, so he's going to need a very good run through Arouge and Radion. It wasn't fantastic for Galanos there, but he really hasn't lost out on much pace. And look at the car lengths opening up between the two of them. Despite the slipstream, this 70 Porsche is not going to get anywhere near the triple 3, and so it's going to have to come somewhere in the middle sector. But where are you going to overtake there? It's very, very tricky to do that. Well, that might be where a wide at Lecombe, and Galanos has basically gifted him that.
Yeah, that's a shame for Fotis Galanos. Now he's going to come under pressure from the 99 from Yorison. So, yeah, a small mistake there. Could be that the car is just not set up the way that Fotis likes. It could be that maybe he's not so confident here at Spa. Whatever it is, Treble 3 McLaren is not able to continue the way that Matt High had really done well to get that car into almost a top 5 position, but sadly not continuing his way. Ben McConnell in the 125 McLaren now completely clear of pressure from behind. Also the immediate pressure, 26.5 minutes. Like you say, Ewan, that's probably a bit of as you can see the McLaren getting a bit squiggly coming through the chicane. Yeah, I think nearly 30 seconds before he would find Lucas Sedor in the 199. That's a bit of a tall order in 26 minutes. To put that in perspective, the 199 cars just crossed the line before Ben McConnell gets towards Blanchimont. Well, yeah, that is the finish line. That's the start line was obviously on the run down towards Eau Rouge. As we look again at Fotis Galanos now. Whoa, that's a bit deep again, going through Blanchimont, heading up towards the chicane. Just look how Tim Urison is able to close in that little bit more as darkness descends. And I mean, that will bring the track temperature down again. Whatever the reason is for that triple 3, it's not quite performing as well as it did in the hands of Matt High.
No, unfortunately not. It could be down to the driver, of course, at this stage. It's Matt High obviously did a very good job with that car, but Galanos is struggling a little bit more. We saw him go wide one lap ago at Lecombe. Allowed Dvorak to go through. Are we going to see something similar a lap later for Urison getting through into 8th position in this BMW? These two quite evenly matched in a straight line, but the slipstream obviously helping the BMW along, so it's going to be outside line for the 99. But is he far enough alongside to make this work? He's late on the brakes as well and sweeps around the outside. Almost no competition, a little bit wide though, and so Galanos is going to be able to come back at him a little bit, but doesn't do enough. And so Urison is up into 8th position.
Indeed, confident move there from Till Urison. Yes, managed to get that move to stick. That is Dvorak. You can see just out of the bottom of the shot there, the number 70 Riser Esports Porsche just going out of the shot, so about a second separating the German marks at this point. There is Wojtek Dvorak, basically doing what he can in the Porsche. I think, like we said before, I think the characteristics of the Spa just not suiting the nimble Porsche this time around, heading into the final chicane. He's going to definitely have it to defend from the encroaching number 99 Lutz Motorsport BMW before the checkered flag falls. But as I say, that is the closest position we've got as far as on-track position is concerned. There is the 199. That's the second of the Volante, well, now sole Volante Esports cars. We lost the number 14 earlier on with what's looked like a technical problem for Jonathan Riley just as he got in the car. So Volante now being represented by the 199 car, Lucas Sedor having taken that over from Noah Sully Vasquez Rodriguez earlier on. finds himself very much in no man's land. He's quite some distance behind the 31 car. That's the West Competition of BMW in the hands of Victor Nikolai. There he is. That has got a face full of back marker at the moment. I can't quite tell which back marker that is. I think that's the 724 Porsche, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Prado at the moment in 15th position. A little bit further down the order, unfortunately for them. Here today, a long way behind the 69 of Scott, who's currently making his way through Eau Rouge, Blanchimont, I should say, at the moment. But yeah, just a little bit of lap traffic for Nikolai to make his way through. But no problems really. So yeah, 22 minutes to go, but there are still going to be battles going on. This one probably is going to be the primary source of entertainment for the final moments of this race. Dvorak trying to get away from Jurison. They do look quite well matched in pace at the moment, but the BMW might just have the edge. I think it's going to be very difficult to hold back as well once he gets into the slipstream. Once he gets close enough, there's not a lot Dvorak can do up that Kemmel straight, as we've seen already. The BMW was even able to really be quite a lot quicker than the McLaren up the Kemmel straight there. So yeah, it could very well be an easy move for the 99 once you get there. Ben McConnell is getting away quite considerably, 5 seconds at the moment. It doesn't look like being caught really.
No, I'd say that Ben McConnell has the measure of his pursuers. Like I say, now 5 seconds back to Wojtek Dvorak, but 29 seconds. That gap just ever so slightly increasing. But I would imagine Ben McConnell is, he's not daft. He's very, very, very experienced in that McLaren, and he knows to just kind of bring it home. Although he has lost nearly a second to Dvorak and the Porsche behind, but also remember, the Porsche is strongest in that middle sector, so that gap will ebb and flow as the McLaren gets into the area where it's more strong, which is certainly along the Kemmel Straight, particularly through Blanchimont. So Ben McConnell is no doubt keeping an eye on the Deltas, but is just running his own race at this point. He knows there's no way realistically to close in on the 199 ahead without, like I said earlier, without some kind of issue. Also, I've just realised that Ben McConnell has actually just passed back markers, so that'll be also where he lost a fair chunk of time. So darkness continuing to descend, 20.5 minutes to the race. We've barely seen our leader, the number 39 Yas Heat Community McLaren, Jaroslav Honzik, took that one over from Mikhail Statsenko at the beginning of the race. We also haven't seen a great deal of his pursuer, the 89 BS Competizione BMW. There is Jaroslav Honzik, and there is Angus Vender in our lead two cars. They've not, besides the first few laps, they really haven't seen one another. Then George Boothby in the number 75 Yas Heat McLaren. So Yas Heat very, very well represented in this particular competition. And look at that, 5 seconds between each of the top 4 cars in turn. So the number 31 West Competition car, Victor Nikolai, is another 5 and a bit seconds back. So that's been the story of the top 4. They've just been, pretty equidistant, just consistent laps going through. Although George has gained a bit on Angus Vender that last time around. Here, however, as Wojtek Dvorak that is now going to have to start playing defensive against the number 99, the Lutz Motorsport BMW. Till Jurison, having gotten past Fotis Galanos earlier on and left him behind by about 3.7 seconds, we've got a real fight on our hands for what is now 7th position.
I'm not sure how long this fight is really going to last though, because as we've spoken about all day long, Porsche does struggle on these straights. Even down towards the bus stop chicane, it has been known to struggle, although that was against the McLaren. So will the BMW have the same effect? Doesn't quite look like it. If we Blanchimont now, and we'll see, as West Competition Racing, by the way, stopped on the Kemmel Straight, but we'll see that in a minute. Dive to the inside maybe? No, he's going to be outside for Jurison. Gives him the inside for the final part of the bus stop chicane, but he's going to decide to get a better run onto the front straight instead.
Yeah, that was a weird place to have an incident. That was just at the end of Sector 1, so unless he's touched the grass when trying to get into position, quite wide, you'd be that wide. Oh, Jurison looked like he was trying to take a very deep line there through Les Combes to try and maximise his exit speed down the hill, then heading towards Eau Rouge. And so Dvorak doing what he can to keep the BMW behind. But I agree with you there, Ewan. I don't think that Wojciech Dvorak, as much as he's a very, very talented driver, I mean, all of our drivers are very, very talented in fairness, I just don't think that he's going to have quite enough to keep the BMW behind. But we will see, as it doesn't look like Till Jorgensen will be close enough to make a challenge this time around. And indeed, he does not. Yeah, very odd incident there from the 31. Hopefully we'll get a replay of what happened there. It looked like he was completely on his own, so there didn't seem to be any back markers near him, unless it could be, I mean, the 724 car is not far ahead, so it could be that Max Prodol was involved in that. Let's have a look at the replay of it. On board, no, there's nowhere near him. So what on earth did he do? I'm assuming he just touched the grass.
Oh my goodness me. That was scary, and somehow he's not touched the, well, he's grazed it when he went down to slow speed, but something has got on there. I'm not sure. That kind of thing tends to happen when you let go of the wheel entirely. I don't see what reason he would have for doing that, other than maybe just boredom, because he's on his own at the moment, but that would have woken him up. My goodness. Wow.
I think you're right there. That's exactly what would happen if you let go of the wheel, even on a straight. The wheel can very suddenly snap, and yeah, good luck saving that at that kind of speed. You know, well spotted there, Ewan. Or the cat jumped on his keyboard or something. You know, it's one of those kind of very, very bizarre incident there for Victor Nicolai, but still in fourth position, hasn't lost enough to put him in the clutches of Lucas Sidor. There is the fifth place Volante Racing number 199 McLaren. I'm sure he gained a lot of time as a result of the incident, but not enough to put him in a position where he's challenging for that fourth position. However, that doesn't mean that more issues won't befall anybody else. There's that battle for seventh position with the picture-in-picture. Wojciech Dvorak keeping Till Jorgensen at bay. In fairness, he's proving us wrong so far. That Porsche is proving difficult for Jorgensen in the BMW to overcome at the moment. And as we've seen so far, the BMW certainly has the pace to try and overcome the straight line speed of the Porsche, but we don't know if there's damage on that 99 car. We don't know whether he's just biding his time. He's gaining now, but I would imagine he's just going to run out of road. Oh, that gets very close. Yeah, he wasn't close enough at the beginning of the maneuver, but it did force Wojciech Dvorak to get into position to have to defend. He's certainly feeling the pressure as they came into Lake Op.
Yeah, he certainly was. But it's not enough road really on the outside there, and he was nowhere near far enough alongside in terms of being able to kind of outbrake his way onto the inside for the second part of Le Combe. So you're going to have to stay behind one more time, and this is the difference. So we're seeing it now between the McLaren and the BMW in terms of the straight line speed. I know this car had a fairly easy time getting through on the 333, but you remember Ben McConnell getting through on Dvorak earlier on. It was pretty easy in the McLaren. BMW having a harder time of things. Of course, it can't all be down to the actual cars themselves. There will be setup differences between these cars in terms of the amount of downforce that they've put on them. If you have got a very high downforce car, then obviously you're going to be very slow on the straights. So that could be playing a role in this one as well, but it certainly is mainly down to the car, and Jorgensen is struggling at the moment to be close enough to Dvorak to make a move into Le Combe, which is the most likely place for him to do it.
Very, very true. Jorgensen is going to be too far back to make any challenge this time. Boothby does actually look like he's gaining a bit on Angus Fender. That gap now down to 3.1 seconds I just noticed. So did the number 89 hit traffic? Where are they on the map? Possibly. No, I don't think they have actually. They're about to hit traffic, so we might have a challenge for second going on there, but we'll see as the race continues. Oh, this could well be an opportunity for Jorgensen now, very, very close to the Porsche. Into Eau Rouge. The Porsche's not going to be able to open any gap. Oh, the BMW's got really out of shape. Going up and over Radion. that is not going to be quite enough to kill the momentum that Till Jorgensen has to the outside line. But can he outbrake the Porsche though? That's going to be the golden question. Still side by side, the BMW has nosed ahead, but the Porsche's still hanging on in there. That's track lighting, not someone. I thought that was someone's headlights actually on the side. But no, the Porsche, utilising its cornering efficiency, has gotten back ahead. The 112 car has spun. That's Eichhorn that's had trouble at Radeon. And the Porsche's defending for all it's worth. Now, this is where the Porsche is going to have its strength come to its aid and just about enable it to hang on to 7th. But the Dvorak is all over the back of try that one again. Till Jorgensen all over the back of Dvorak, goes to the inside line. Oh no! I thought that was a bit brave for Jorgensen, but no, that's gone horribly wrong. There goes Galanos to take 8th position.
Hard to tell from the onboards really, but certainly contact made, and Jorgensen goes around. It would have been a controversial one actually had he made through or gone through Lacomas. Galanos goes off himself now in the very next corner, so Jorgensen is back up to 8th position. But it would have been a difficult one to call really, because remember Jorgensen went wide at Radeon, which allowed him to have that run. Here's the move at Pouon. Does Dvorak turn in here, or does he go? I think he goes a little bit wide actually of the apex there. Doesn't quite stay quite as low as maybe he was hoping for. And then the very next corner, Galanos threw his his new 8th place away immediately there. So that was unfortunate for him. But we saw in that exchange as well, Eichhorn going off at a Radiant. Well, we didn't see it, but we do know it's happened. That has closed up all of the battles for 10th position. That there's now 4 cars in that conversation for the last spot inside the top 10.
Boothby's closing in on Angus Fender as well. Let's have a replay of what we're going to see here. This is the Eichhorn's issue. Oh, yeah. Did he give it out the wall? No. Oh, that's going to hurt. To just, how many cars has that Apex claimed in its lifetime? Virtual or real? Many, many. On board with George Boothby, he has closed that gap down to under 3 seconds. A drive-through penalty for the COS Esports 23 McLaren. So that's currently being driven by that's Federico. I struggled to say this last time. Varanolo, that is going to have to serve a drive-through in the 16th place 23 McLaren. Now, is George Boothby closing in on Angus Fender? Whoa, that looked very wide there for the BMW. So is Angus Fender beginning to struggle? Well, no, I don't think he is, because he's maintaining that 5-second gap to himself and Jaroslav Honzik. I think George Boothby has found a bit more weight in his right foot, and that's Icon again. He's had another trouble at exactly the same place. He's recovered the car back to the pits. That could well be the end for the Lipa Esports Audi.
Yeah, it looks like it could be the second lap in a row where they have gone off at Rouge and Radeon, I'm afraid. So that promotes everybody up a place. The Aston Martin is now inside of the top 10. But yeah, it does look like Boothby is finally finding a little bit of pace here in this McLaren for some reason. It's not down to Fender losing any time, because the gap is staying the same to Jaroslav Honzik up in front, about 5.5 seconds. But it's now down below 2 for Boothby. Now, less than 10 minutes to go, and I think this is a very important pass in the context of this championship, because the 75 came in with a 32-point deficit to the 89 just up in front. I think even at a strong circuit like this, GTWR Yas Heat have to be gaining points. At the moment, they'd lose another 10. The gap would be 42 points if the race were to end right now at the half distance point of this championship. Now, if we see the positions reversed, it will be down to 22, which is a lot more manageable with 4 races to go. So, yeah, it's pretty important battle this, but Boothby might just run out of time.
It is quite late in the race, less than 9 minutes to go, but it's certainly doable. We will see how that battle transpires. We're now looking at the GTWR Yas Heat car. I mean, Yas Heat would love a 1-2 at Spa. Well, they'll love a 1-2 anywhere, I would imagine, but particularly at Spa, that will be a very strong taste of success. But can they do it? There's Fender. There is Boothby. Has that gap changed? We'll see next time we come through the timing beam. It's somewhere around hasn't changed a huge amount this time around, but it most certainly has shrunk quite a bit in the closing stages of this race. I would imagine Honzik can just afford to let off the gas a little bit, but that can invite a mistake to happen though, so he may well just opt to continue pushing on. 1.2 seconds now between Angus Fender and George Boothby. Oh, we got a fight going on for second place. Also, there's a battle for 11th forming between Bikus and Nemechowski in the 28 and 16 cars respectively.
There certainly is. Moskowski should be victorious in that one, I'd imagine. But once again, it's going to be difficult in that Porsche as Fender goes a little bit wide at Radion there. Just wondering where this pace has been all day from Boothby, really, because all of a sudden, well, and Luke Whitehead, I suppose, we saw him not have a great first stint either. So I've no idea why all of a sudden this McLaren is a lot quicker than it was, but it's about time. I said earlier it might be a little bit too late, but it's really strange to see, really bizarre that all of a sudden this Yas Heat car has got a lot quicker compared to how it was doing earlier on in the race. 7 minutes to go. It's going to be 3 laps to go at the line, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 3 laps at the line, so not many chances, but if Fender makes a couple more mistakes like they're going wide at No Name Corner, then this opportunity is going to be coming up very soon, and there is going to be a battle between these two.
I mean, don't get us wrong that George Boothby is a formidable force in that McLaren. It's not like Angus Fender is slow, most certainly not. He was the one that brought the car home in the winning position at Monza, but equally, again, that big snap of oversteer from the McLaren there will be keeping Boothby on his toes. But George Boothby is a very difficult person to keep behind you at the best of times. I'm not sure why Luke Whitehead would have lost the kind of time he did. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just, they were playing to a strategy, just keeping the timing under control. What I suspect it is they're not really interested in the number 39 car. They've got nothing really to gain by pushing hard to try and overcome them. It's this guy, it's the BS competition car that they are in the closest battle with. So I suspect that they've let the number 39 have its moment in the sun and just concentrated purely on now pressing their advantage. I wonder whether there's just no tyres left in that 89, because they are now dropping back. Look at the gap between first and second now, 6.3 seconds between Honzik and Fender, and that gap to Boothby is just absolutely vanished. Surely it's inevitable now, unless Angus Fender can play a defensive game of the gods. I cannot see how on earth he's going to be able to keep George Boothby behind.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him, but a great run through Eau Rouge and Radion might just be the trick here. With 5 minutes to go, it's an astonishing run up the Kemmel Straight, and so he's going to hold on for another lap, I believe. There's no way Boothby can make a route from this distance. You can see him finally gaining at the end of the straight when the slipstream and the top end of the McLaren really does begin to take effect. But if he continues on like that, Fender is going to be able to hold on here by the looks of things with 2 laps to go at the line. Boothby, as I say, just finding a little bit of pace here, although it does finally look like Fender now in the final 10 minutes or so. The tyres going away from him maybe just a little bit because Honzik is getting away, although that gap could be expanding because of this battle as well. We just don't know at this stage, but it doesn't really matter because these two are the real focus at the moment, the real battle out there on the road. These two once again, as they were 2 weeks ago, only this time it's for second and not the win.
Very, very true. So 4.5 minutes remain. 2 more laps here at Spa for our remaining competitors. 16 cars still on track. The 112 Audi has not returned to the track, and I'm not really surprised. They had quite an argument with the ball. Several arguments with the ball at Radion. But just as I mentioned their name, they have vanished. So another one has fallen by the wayside. We've lost 5 in this race, but all eyes at the moment on this battle for second position. And my God, there's enough life in the tyres and the crucial moments for Angus Fender in that BMW to just dump every bit of power it's got and just gap the McLaren. Boothby looking on the inside line, coming towards the chicane, but opts not to go for it. Angus Fender can brake late enough to just keep the McLaren behind. 2 more laps of this. I don't envy Angus Fender right now. He's under all the pressure in the world. And Victor Nicolai is 30-odd seconds or 27 seconds back, so they don't have anybody else to worry about. Look at the inside of Les Combes. He's not interested in that. He wants for La Source, beg your pardon. He wants the inside line running up to Lake Ob. That's what Boothby is after. And I suspect he smells blood in the water. You can see that BMW has lost a fair amount of pace leading up to this point. Bide his time now. Now if he wants to make the move this time around, but that's not gone well through Radion. That's given the advantage back to the BMW.
It's a poor run once again from Boothby through Rouge and Radion there, and he's going to be nowhere near close enough to make a move. He's going to have to learn from the last 2 laps of trying and finally nail it on the final lap, which of the next is going to be at the final lap of this race. He's going to really have to nail it. A little bit further down, Maszkowski has come in for the 116 team. The only reason I can think of is that they might have underfueled maybe in this race. Unfortunately, this race might be going 1 lap longer than they were expecting, so they've had to come in now and put that extra little bit of fuel in so that they can make it to the end. They do now exit the pit lane, but I believe they could well be last in this race. It's such a long pit lane, it really could have cost them dearly in this one. I'm afraid I do believe indeed that they will have dropped down to last. Not entirely sure, but yeah, costly mistake from them.
Maszkowski is back on track, but yeah, that looked like a splash and dash to me. A great shame. It's horrible when you can just see the fuel gauge, and no matter what you do, you cannot eke out those last couple of laps out of the fuel tank. So Honzik remains unchallenged 6 seconds down the road from the battle we're looking at, and it looks like the BMW might just have enough to keep Boothby behind. We will see as we are about to start our final lap. Once we come through Blanchimont, once again, there is a back marker a little bit further down the road. That's the 72 car. There's Ed Haskell in the Rev Sport International BMW. Ooh, Boothby thought about it, and you see Angus Fender was forced to that defensive line. But again, here is not the place that Boothby wants to make the move, because it would leave him open to counter-attack on the Kemmel Straight. Now it is all or nothing, do or die, feast or famine, and the BMW committing to the inside line. This is what Boothby needed. Oh, a punch in the face for Boothby. He wants to try he wants to try and negate the advantage the BMW seems to have had, and Boothby now nailed to his bumper, but this isn't ideal. He needs a good run through Eau Rouge and up and over Radion, and the BMW's got the legs on him again. This has gone wrong for Boothby. This isn't what he needed. He needed to get the momentum, but Fender's done exactly what he needed to do to break the momentum of Boothby.
Yeah, he looks like he's done enough. The BMW looks so composed up the hill and over the curbs as well. It's so composed, and such a good run onto the Kemmel Straight once again that has allowed the BMW to stay in front for 1 more lap, and it might just be enough on this occasion, because I can't really see another opportunity for Boothby to get through, unless of course lap traffic comes into effect.
Could well do. We'll see how well Angus Fender and George Boothby deal with the lap car that's just about. Well, that's one way to do it. Nicely done for Ed. I think that was the 72. Yes, it was. It was the 72 BMW. Ed Haskell jumps out of the way quite nicely. I think, is there? No, there's not another back marker in between them and the line. So it is all or nothing now. The checker flag is at the ready for Jaroslav Honzik in the 39 car, unless he has trouble with the back markers ahead of him. I imagine he'll just back off and let the back markers do their thing at this point. Or the tail of the BMW getting very lively on the exit of the chicane. It is all onto this straight now, and the McLaren, I don't reckon, is going to have enough in the tank to overcome the BMW. Look at that. The BMW's had a great run coming out onto the heading towards Blanchimont. It looks like the Fender has done what he needs to do.
Yeah, it looks like he's done enough here into Blanchimont. I can't see a dive coming here from Boothby. But up the front, Jaroslav Honzik is not going to be denied. Going through the bus stop chicane now to take this win.
And there it is, flash of the lights from the 39. Your winner here at Spa is the Yas Heat Community McLaren in the hands of Jaroslav Honzik. Second just is the BS Competition BMW. Flash of the lights from the number 75, the second of the Yas Heat cars, the McLaren, in the hands of George Boothby. What a battle they had towards the end. In fourth, it is going to be the 31, the West Competition Racing BMW. They joined us joined us last time around, and again another very strong result for them. Victor Nikolai bringing that one home for fourth position. In fifth, it looks like it's going to be the 199 which is the Volante, or the surviving Volante Racing McLaren. Flash of the lights already. Well, it looks like a flash of the lights. Oh, it is a flash of the lights from that particular angle. Just the way the lights. Oh, he is flashing his lights. He's doing that very early. Well, why not? It's been a good race for them. Over the line for Lucas Sidor for the for Volante Racing, and then it is Ben McConnell in the 125. He's a little bit further down the road, but still another strong performance from the R&E Red Racing McLaren. It's not coloured red, but you know what I mean. They're going to come home in 6th position. He and Robin Hulleman had a great scrap in that particular car. They will claim 6th position. The number 99 will be looking for 7th. That's the Lutz Motorsport. Big celebration from Ben McConnell there. You earned it, sir. Bravo, well done. Till Yorison, what a fight he had with Wojtek Dvorak. But 7th position goes to the 99 Lutz Motorsport BMW. And right behind them is the number 70 Riser Esport Porsche in the hands of Wojtek Dvorak. The number 33, they had some difficulties towards the end, but they come home. It's the Bath Motorsports McLaren. Fotis Galanos taking that one over from Matt High earlier in the race. They come home in 9th position. Then it's going to be the last-minute competition Aston Martin being driven by John Araser. He's under actually a bit of pressure from the 28 behind, amazingly. So action right at the very end. But John Araser completes the top 10. And it is that'll be Bikus, Wes Bikus, I believe that is, rounding out our finishes. The rest of our drivers have finished a lap down. Well, what a race it has been. Spa never fails to disappoint.
No, it doesn't. And it was another good race here. Battles right towards the end. And that one for second settled there with Angus Fender coming out on top of Judge Boothby there. Could prove to be very important in the course of this championship by the end. Another 10 points gained by the team that finished in second there on the left-hand side of your screen. But it's all about the men in the middle there, Yaroslav Honzik and Mikhail Statsenko, who have won here at Spa. A great win for them, and only their second appearance in this GT Omega Challenger Cup season.
Great stuff. I said fail to disappoint. I meant to say fail to entertain. Never fail to entertain this, Spa. Get it right. Not even the right words. It's just...
I just realised how that doesn't sound right, does it? But yeah,
I knew
I agree,
what I
though.
meant. I knew what I think people knew what I was saying. But what a race! That was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Spa always delivers. No matter what it is that's racing here, it could be milk floats, and they would be entertaining to watch. Lawnmowers at Spa, I'd have a go at that. But yeah, I mean, you can't take it away from the Yas Heat. Both of their cars in on the podium positions. You can feel the smile of Honzik from here. He's always a very happy man, and we very much look forward to having a chat with him.
Yeah, we certainly do. He's a very upbeat guy. Even if things have gone wrong, he's a very upbeat guy. So he'll be good to speak. We'll hopefully speak to all of the guys on the podium here soonish. So yeah, hopefully we can bring that to you before the stream ends. But yeah, a nice win for those guys at Yas Heat Community. It's obviously not their, they obviously won't be haven't done the full season just yet, but they've had a good start.
They've had a very good start. We actually have some people to come and have a chat to us. It's the BS Competition BMW drivers, Angus Fender and Gregor Schill. Angus, are you with us?
I am here. Hello.
Well, did you have a lot of work to do right at the end, particularly? Struth, talk us through it from your side.
Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? I hope it made good viewing because it was good fun from the driver's seat. To be honest with you, I had a sneaking suspicion that George would rip up to the back of me really fast because this is probably the biggest McLaren track in the game, and a track that the BMW notoriously struggles a bit at. So going into this one, our mindset was literally just damage limitation, and then having done nigh on no practice because today was my last ever uni exam, I've just jumped in thinking, let's have a laugh, let's see how we go, and then battling for P2 at the end and holding on was way more than we could have expected, I'll be honest.
Fair play. Gregor, was there any kind of idea on trying to challenge the Yas Heat guys ahead of you, or were you constantly kind of looking behind and trying to keep an eye on where the Yas Heat car behind was coming in?
I mean, this race, the approach was so different to the last one because in Donington in round 3, the cars were somewhat on the same level. So we had something to fight for. Whereas into this race weekend, so to say, we really just went, as Angus already mentioned, with our heads like, yeah, this will be damage limitation. If we would just finish behind the McLarens on P4 or so, we'd be really happy. And then, yeah, in quali, I also wasn't happy with the car. The balance was all over the place. The grip felt different to the practice server, but still somehow I managed to qualify ahead of Luke, which is like our championship rival. And that pumped us so much up, because it was like, hey, we actually have even a chance on this track to extend our championship lead, because Jadje and Sechenko, which had like the best pace of the race weekend, so to say, they qualified, of course, on P1, I think 6 cents ahead or so, but they're not really fighting for the championship, so they can just win the races. We don't care. We just, of course, look about the championship. And as Luke was behind us, this gave us the opportunity to then just try to hang onto the position to finish ahead of them. And surprisingly, then in my stint, I was able to pull like a 8 or 9 second gap to Luke. I'm not sure why, because Stachenko was like 6/10 almost a lap quicker on me. So I guess Luke just had some problems. But then, yeah, as soon as George went into the car, the gap started to drop like we already thought. And it was like, hey, if we can finish ahead of them, it's cool. If not, we give them P2, because there is no point to risk the championship just because of one position. And at the end, we saw Angus did an amazing job defending P2. And yeah, I'm really happy that we actually basically end this weekend by extending the championship lead, which is just amazing. And we didn't expect that at all.
Final question from me. Being that, so for those that are maybe a little bit less familiar with this format of racing, obviously two different drivers prefer to have the car set up in two particular different ways that suit yourselves. What compromises do you have to make to the setup of the car to suit both of you for a track like Spa?
I mean,
It's
yeah, Angus, you can go. Don't
sorry,
worry.
it's not. Some people have a massive preference over what they want a car to drive like. Personally, the M4 from standard feels pretty solid as it is. And fortunately, I'm in a team with a bunch of guys who know the car inside out. But in terms of tailor making a setup for one driver or another, it's not really something we have to think about too much. We usually find a happy medium, the fast setup we think, and then we just go and drive it. And you learn how to drive a setup. You need to be versatile. You need to adapt. You need to think about what you're doing. It's not as complicated as it actually might sound on paper when making a setup. You make something that's fast and you go and drive it.
As simple as that. Any questions, Ewan?
Yeah, I'd like to say congratulations on second place, I guess. And yeah, it was a good drive from you both today.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, yeah, the Championship League continues for you and extends, and we wish you the best of luck for the remainder of the season. Thank you very much, Angus Fender and Gregor Shell.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Okay, in the waiting room we have got. I've been looking forward to this. We've got the drivers of the 39. It's the Yas Heat Community McLaren. We have Yaroslav Jardier-Honzik and Mikhail Statsenko in the box with us. Gentlemen, can you hear us?
Yes, let's go, boys.
See, you can feel the smile. You can't even we can't even see it. We can feel it. Mikhail, first of all, well, I can ask the same question to either of you, really. You just ran off. There was just no challenge for you. Were you that confident coming into this round that it was really going to go your way, with the win was going to be yours, or did you kind of still feel that you were going to be under pressure coming into this round?
I mean, it's always very easy, like, to make some mistake at Spa. It's like a track where you need to risk it, and like high risk, high reward track. I would say it's one of them. So it's very easy to invalidate a lap, and it's all about like getting the first few laps in the quali, and then you can like really push and get a lap time. So I got my lap time like only on the last lap. So yeah, it's only about getting that safe laps at the beginning. And in the race, what I can say, the car was very, very understeer after some like first, I don't know, 3-4 laps. It became very, very understeer, and it was very, very hard to control for us. But we got a bit lucky with P2 disconnection, or like we had a problem. So yeah, good race for us in general.
And Mr.
Oh, we've lost. Now I'm in a half and half strange thing. Can I move? Yeah, there we are.
Where is he
I
going?
found him.
Where is he going,
I'm in it.
matey?
See,
Um,
my digital connection couldn't handle the smile and the love from the
There we
Honzik.
are.
You're having a wee bit of assistance there.
I'll try that again. Mr. Honzik, now I've had the great pleasure of commentating on you in a variety of different sims and cars and what have you over the years. I mean, how do you do it? Just what's the secret? I mean, what do you have? What do you have that keeps that smile going? That would be a secret you could sell and make millions on its own. But how do you do it? How are you so fast? What is the secret?
Big balls.
As simple as that.
I
Oh,
don't know. Just like, I don't know. Like, I'm addicted to racing. You know, addicted to racing, addicted to sim racing overall. So I think it just goes hand in hand overall.
fair play.
But
And,
today I got absolutely carried. You know, like my teammate did all the work. Like honestly, all the work. I was just like second off the pace, almost just passenger and just finishing the race today.
a great representation for Yas Heat as well, with your second coming up in third. We'll chat to Luke and George shortly. There's surely going to be a lot of celebrations going on at Camp Yas Heat later.
100%, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Goodbye.
What a great entertaining race. So we didn't see a lot of you, but a wonderful win, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you very much, Mr. Honzik and Mr. Statsenko. They've already disappeared. They're already off to celebrate. Let's have a chat then with the second of the Yas Heat cars coming home in third position. That would be George Boothby and Luke Whitehead. Let's get them in here. Here they come. George and Luke, can you hear us?
Hey. Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, so close right at the end, but still a very, very strong performance. Let's, Luke, first of all, it looked like you were a little bit off the pace that we normally see from yourself. Were you struggling a bit with the car? What was happening?
I genuinely have no idea, to be completely honest. I mean, in testing, I was not far off. Like, I was probably 4/10ths off maximum, like in practice. And if anything, in quali, I was probably within a couple of tenths of George and Mikael in practice. And then in the race, I don't have a clue. I mean, George said he experienced a setup bug in practice where the car was reacting exactly as I experienced in the race, but then he reloaded the setup and it felt fine. So I don't know whether it's something to do with that. I don't usually like sort of putting it down to other things, but yeah, I didn't feel like I was driving particularly badly, but to lose a second by just every single lap and Eau Rouge, I didn't take it once where I was safe and confident with the car. It was bottoming out, and I had a few huge moments through there. So I don't really know what was going on. I don't know whether it was me just driving badly or whether it was something with the setup that was amiss, or I don't know what was really going on. But I mean, yeah, all I can really say is George did an awesome job. He, had the pace for the win. So I'm kind of gutted that I wasn't able to hold up my side of the bargain, but he drove a great job. So I was happy to be driving as his teammate today. I think without him, it would have been a pretty dire race, to be honest.
I think you're a bit too hard on yourself there, Mr. Whitehead. You've already shown great pace. You were the one that brought the car home at Monza in the top spot, I will remind you. But I get what you mean. It's very frustrating when you don't know where the issue is lying, and fair play for you to not just say, oh, it was something else. So yeah, respect for you for that one. And George, oh my goodness, you must have absolutely had your eyes on that second spot from the BS Competizione car. Did the tires just go away from you, or did the acceleration, the advantage of the Beamer just keep you at bay?
I mean, I got in the car obviously a little bit nervous as how it was going to react. But yeah, it was weird. I don't understand why the car was acting like that in the first stint, because the second stint it just felt absolutely normal. So I just went out there and thought, let's just see what we can do, right? And the pace was there. I managed to catch up, but it's just very difficult to overtake when it's cold, because Eau Rouge is obviously very sketchy to take flat in those temperatures. And then when you get behind another car, you get a bit of aero wash. So
in normal circumstances, let's say if it was in like midday or something, you could like just get a run all the way for a rouge and just keep in the tow. But with it being in the night, it was just almost impossible to do that because I just understeered wide every time for a rouge when I got behind them. So I was hoping I could maybe get a bit of a run into the last corner, into the bus stop, but I just couldn't quite get near them. Like Fender was doing a really good job just in the middle sector. He was like really strong there. So I tried my hardest. It didn't work out in the end, but I'm pretty proud of my stint. Like I feel like I was super consistent. Felt the pace was there. It's just a shame of what happened in the first stint. Like we just don't really understand. It felt like a different car in the first stint. So we'll have to see what we can do there. Maybe we can find out what the cause was, but it is what it is. I think P3 is still a really good drive, and it was still in contention in the championship.
Very much so. I mean, considering that you've both kind of said that was a bad race and you were still third, I think we very much look forward to great things from Yas Heat. Congratulations to you both. Great podium, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Thank you very much, George Boothby and Luke Whitehead.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
Oh, we certainly have, and we certainly will. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Wow, Ewan O'Leary, what a race.
Yeah, a very enjoyable race indeed. Spa does indeed always deliver, and yeah, we've certainly seen that here today. Another good race. I mean, halfway in this championship now, and BS Competition are looking more and more difficult to beat at this stage. We'll see if they can be beaten at the Nürburgring next time out, but it is becoming theirs to lose without wanting to jump the gun on that one. Still 4 rounds to go though, and I hope everybody at home will join us for those like you have done tonight. Yeah, it's been good entertainment once again, and I look forward to the coming rounds.
Absolutely. So just leaves me to say thank you very much to those that have been with us throughout the stream, either live or post-event. We very much enjoy your company. Thank you very much, of course, GT Omega for hosting such an incredible event, and to the guys in the production. We literally couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much to our drivers as well for putting on a fantastic show. And as Ewan says, we'll be back for the Nürburgring next time out. Please do join us for that. The action is only going to get hotter for the rest of the season. Until then, thank you very much, and good night.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Show me what you got. Oh,
Is that everything you got?
last turn.
Catch me if you can.
That was great.
That was a good game.
Unlock true experience with GT Omega.
Unleash the racer in you and feel the thrill of racing all out on the open road.